Who wants to do the recap? I have nothing to offer you since I gave you back all your bullets.
Then I'm not interested in doing a recap.
Chad
Good day,
got
sir.
shot.
I did the recap last time too,
You did do the recap last time.
and I didn't even take notes.
I really thought it would be great if Eric did the recap. And he's like, well,
I didn't listen to the show.
I slept,
I wanted to come in ignorant.
Voldemort,
ignorant, all right.
Voldemort got drunk. He passed out in his bed. There's a knock at the door, and Joe put his pants on, and that Duchess lady, that gray lady, was there, and then I got kind of hard. Joe left the room, and I had it all to myself. Well, you know how these things go, sticky socks and all that. And I fell back asleep.
Thank you, Brodor.
Chad just gave me one of his bullets.
Oh no, you heard it. That's all I heard.
Fair enough.
I'll give this a shot.
I was going to say, go for it.
So, I don't remember if we did anything before this, but we went to get the GCs whispered.
Yes.
Was at a former hospital that is being used for research now.
Mm-hmm.
We came in with our horses, went into an elevator, and it was Joe's first time in an elevator.
It was freaky.
Yeah, it made his entire day.
It's a box. You step into the box and you hit a button, and the box goes lower and lower, and then it stops on floors that are under the earth.
So we went into a lab, and they whispered the GC by taking a big old needle with a virus in it, sticking it in the eye socket all the way back into the brain, injecting it, and then whispering the words to reset it.
We thought it was just going to be like a couple of drinks and like, hey, baby.
During the process, they gave us the manual for that model of GC.
How to hit on horses.
So we have a book that describes
Exactly.
what the line was for, how to whisper it, all the basic commands, all of that. We made a deal with them to give them genetic samples of the horses in exchange for a couple of vials in basically a container that would let us take it with us of the virus to whisper it. So if we breed our horses, we can whisper. How many do we do?
You have 3.
Yeah, we can whisper up to 3. So we went through all of that. That was really cool. We gave commands and made it sit, stand. We're looking through all the commands on it. There is a command to make it breed. As tempting as I was to give it the command and point it to Lee, I didn't.
Like that audio you can hear on the internet, or the guy just... and that dude died.
So we stepped outside and were immediately met by a guy. Was he in a suit? He was in a car.
It was. So it was Ethan Winslow. Yeah,
But we didn't know at the time.
Yeah, at the time we didn't know who he was. Yeah, he pulled up in an actual functioning automobile.
So
I had him honk the horn.
we refused to get in the car with him, but we told him we would meet him at a restaurant down by the dock.
It's not that we refused to get in the car with him. Lee had a brilliant insight and got him to buy us lunch.
So we met him for lunch, found out he was the leader of House Holloway.
Even though his last name isn't Holloway.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm. So we met over lunch. He basically made his pitch, which was, this is what's best for your town.
And it's also the morally right thing to do.
Yep, I'm not going to threaten you. I'm not going to bribe you. I'm just telling you, we are what's best for your town. This is the right thing to do. Go in there and, basically don't fuck me over. But he didn't threaten in any way.
Right, but essentially he wanted us to fold and reverse our testimony.
Well, then the guy was like...
Not reverse, because we hadn't given it yet, but he wanted us to turn against color.
He was full of such horse shit, too.
Well,
I mean, it's just like, well, I'm not going to threaten you, I'm not going to hurt you. You sent people to kill us.
Right.
Well, maybe that was a mistake.
Well, and
I got shot in the face.
And he blamed it on underlings. Right. He's like, I put the wrong people in charge of the mission and whatever. Which is interesting because Dan and I were talking about this because I was explaining to Dan that out of character, I knew this guy was full of shit.
Yeah.
But in character, Joe was really wanted to believe him, and the only reason I didn't change sides is because I'd already made a deal, and I got to stick by my word.
I mean,
right?
was this guy like, who will rid me of these troublesome boat people? And it's just like, come on, dude, you're in charge. Fuck stops here.
There is one crucial detail. Or was that last game session?
So I haven't gotten to it yet.
Okay.
There are other things going on.
All right, fair enough.
When we left there, we ran into the guy with the book,
Cyrus Weiss.
Oh, yeah.
and he suddenly now has. He was happy to
spine?
see us. He suddenly has a boat of his own, and his own business, and made it to St. Louis and got a boat and a business
Man, we have boat
before we were in St. Louis. It seems like, and he's all really happy, and he's carrying around a copy of what Lee gave to.
He just has a sheaf of papers. You don't know what they are.
Sure, we characters don't know what they are, but
Lee
his
recognized
books-
what they were, though.
Well, it's his handwriting. Ooh.
I've said too much.
So we had an interaction with him. Then we go to the court, and we get there. She gives her testimony. We give our testimony of what basically what happened. It goes to a fight in the pit. The guy that is
Sunset?
Casey's friend,
Yeah.
Sunset, is fighting for the other side, and at one point he falls down and his mouth is like foaming and he's dead. And they accuse him of Holloway.
Yeah, so Alistair, the guy who's fighting on behalf of Color, basically, stops the fight as Sunset's frothing at the mouth, and he, basically announces that war is broken. And then Ethan Winslow, head of Holloway, just immediately starts hollering accusations at the Duchess.
Yeah, I had no proof.
Accusation,
Yep.
Then bullets.
Yeah, I had no proof until now that of what happened to my messenger, because he said that he sent a messenger to the town to tell them what the plan was for that intervening years and how the town wasn't going to fall apart. So he said he sent a messenger, but the messenger never showed up.
Yeah, like one guy by himself probably told him not to be armed. It might spook people if you have a gun or guards or took an armed boat. Fuck that guy.
He reveals that he has gotten a letter. Basically, he has a certified letter. It was delivered to him by Cyrus, the guy from before. It was notarized by
Lee.
by my rival, the who we ran into in the town as soon as we went down
in Washington. Yeah,
notarized by him, and it's a contract to kill the messenger, stamped by.
And so the Duchess is like, well, that was just an underling that did it. He's like, that's bullshit.
No.
And it's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
When you have an underling that does that shit, it's like, well, but when your rival does, we're going to court and
right. Yeah,
fighting
this guy
wars.
was so full of shit.
Yeah.
What we know. So I don't know if any of us have put it together in character yet. I was thinking it in. I was trying to figure out if I would have or not. And my character would have thought some of it, but so much happened immediately after that I don't know if he's pieced it together yet. But the timing doesn't line up. The messenger was supposed to have been there before all of this went down, but we met. We met basically the only time that stamping could have happened was after we had left town, when we were in that town.
Yeah, when the mail handoff occurred, MAIL, when the postal handoff occurred between the boat crew and James Weldon, it was when you guys were, I want to say in Washington, which was a day or two after the chaos in town had occurred, not before.
The only people that would know that, though, are us, the guy who may or may not have notarized it,
Right.
because the timing doesn't line up for him to have notarized it.
I don't want to get too ahead of things and out of character, but we're gonna have to put the screws to Cyrus Wise.
Yep.
No,
And I'll kick his ass.
Like, oh my God.
we will fucking board his boat so easily.
In character, it wouldn't. Philip would put it together.
Right.
But I don't think he would put it together right then.
Sure.
I was thinking as it was said, it was kind of weird.
Right.
But then immediately after that, the words true.
It was very Boston Massacre, right? Someone
The Duchess
else
was shot.
Yeah, a non-affiliated rando in the audience somewhere screams "True War." A rifle shot rings out, and the Duchess is hit.
Yep.
And then chaos ensues.
One of her assistants pulls her away. Last we saw her, she was alive, but she was bleeding.
Yeah, we do.
And everything got, shots were fired both ways. We turned and we ran, and Lee got hit in the ass.
The armor took it mostly.
Yeah, the armor did take it.
But there's going to be a bruise.
All right.
But he got shot again.
I didn't get shot again. I just got shot once, didn't I?
Yeah, you're shot once.
You got shot once then, and you got shot in the previous game in the face.
Yeah.
All right.
The non-combat guy, you guys are doing a great job protecting, by the way. He even has an NPC bodyguard, so. Jerks.
In fairness, our only combat guy was asleep back in the room.
All right. Motimer, you are sitting back at the compound, the converted church/monastery,
Right.
where you guys have been staying. You're sitting in the bedroom that you normally occupy. A table and 2 chairs have been moved in there. And you are sitting at this table across from Dr. Sonia Marshall, the sister of Lillian.
Right.
And to the side of the table, there's a discarded chessboard. And under the discarded chessboard, or rather over the discarded chessboard, is a discarded checkers board. And over the discarded checkerboard is a barely there but still somehow usable Connect 4 game. And now she has out a sheet of paper with a great big hash on it. And she's like, okay, you have to make either an X or an O in one of these squares. Just one. And then I take a turn and make the other shape.
X.
Okay, so you can make an X and put an X in one of these. Now, if you get 3 of them in a row on only your turn, then you win. And if I get 3 of mine in a row on my turn, I win.
Easy. I grab it, and I'll put a big X through the whole hash. 3.
That's power right there. That's a power move.
I'm regretting this already, but I'm going to ask. How did you work out that this whole thing is one box?
She never said anything about one box.
You said just do it. I have to do all 3.
As your lawyer, she did say that.
In the distance, you can hear a booming noise. It's not gunfire. And she looks up from her head buried in her hand and says, well, I guess they've started the hearing.
Isn't she with us?
I'm retconning that
Okay.
I think she was, but she actually really wasn't important to the trial, so
She didn't say anything. And
yeah, she didn't say
I think if we're in a
anything.
running gunfight, we're going to spend more time protecting her than...
Yeah,
Okay.
I think she was, but I'm retconning.
My immersion!
I don't think it was ever defined.
I'm retconning.
I don't remember it being defined. So.
I don't remember either. There's a recording of it, so somebody knows. But yeah, I'm retconning backwards. All right, so she takes the tic-tac-toe thing off and puts down another piece of paper and says, okay, I've got a different game we can play. She digs around in the bag that's next to her, and she pulls out a deck of cards. Says, okay, I'm going to lay down how 5 cards, and I'm going to turn one over. Okay?
Now she flips the card, I take off my shirt. It's a cat house game. I know this.
This is not a cat house. I'm a doctor. I don't play doctor. I am a doctor. I do surgery. God damn it. How did I end up? No, put your shirt back on.
Put my shirt back on.
Okay, no, this is not a cat house game. If it is in a cat house, we're not in a cat house, so we're not going to play it like they do in the cat house. This is a game called high-low. Do you know what those words mean?
High and low, yes.
Okay, so the king is a very high card. So you have to guess whether the next card is higher or lower than the king.
Dan dealt out 5 cards face down in front of him.
And the king's the one with the dress.
Sure. He's got a dress.
Okay.
It's a kill, damn it.
Okay. Yeah, I got this.
Okay?
Uh-huh.
So the next card is...
King.
If he's right.
No, the next card is lower. It's a 4.
4.
Okay, so now the 4 is pretty low. So do you think the next card is higher or lower?
Lower.
You think...
Hey,
Now, the odds are not in your favor. You do understand that, right?
How low does it go?
1.
Oh. Low. Yay.
No,
it's
not
an 8.
8 is bigger than 4.
Oh.
If you were in a cat house, you'd be taking something in the butt right now.
I don't even have to pay for that.
Okay. You know what? I tell you what. Why don't we just sit here in silence until your friends come back, and
It's a quiet game.
I can go hang myself.
Where's that medicine? The medicine that they gave Joe. I want some of that. I hurt.
You hurt emotionally or physically? What do you mean you hurt? What on you hurts?
My head.
I can imagine. Is there anything on you that you actually use that hurts?
Apparently he just got a burn, so...
Yeah. Just looking at those games made my head hurt.
Oh. Okay. I'm going to hold up a card, and I want you, can you tell me anything about it? What do you see on this card?
It's some. It looks like looking through a dirty mirror.
You need glasses. You have a headache from trying to focus your eyes. You don't see the world clearly. So
No, I don't.
No, you don't. Not in the least. Okay, so if we hold this card right up to your face, okay, do you see how it's clear?
No,
It's not clear.
no.
Even this close to your
Blurry.
face, it's blurry. Okay, maybe you're farsighted. What if I hold it? Is it clear here?
More spots, yes.
More spots. Okay, so you're farsighted. That's a little rarer than being nearsighted, but we might be able to take care of this. Fortunately, I can't imagine you do a lot of reading, so this probably doesn't become a problem too often. Maybe before we leave, we can get you some glasses.
Is that why all men's faces look the same?
When you're close to them, probably, yes. What that means is you see the way that you can see things clearly that are far away. You should see them that clearly when they're close to you, too.
Okay. Okay.
Is that why you thought She takes the tic-tac-toe thing back out. Is that why you thought this was a box?
Box.
Okay. Mortimer, give me a perception check, and you may use your scouting skill.
Okay.
Definitely not your vision, though.
So that's 3 or 4? 3 dice.
3 dice, pick the best 2.
Yeah, this is far away.
Ooh. That would be plus perception.
Yes.
So that is 21.
Wow. Okay. In the all right. So as you're talking to her, somewhere outside, you don't usually hang out in cities, but you've certainly heard this noise echoing off of features of the landscape before. You've heard what an echoing gunshot sounds like. It's a very distinct, high-pitched sort of crack. It's the sort of noise you don't really... Nothing else in the wild makes this noise. And even in the city, though there's a lot of bangs and clangs and there's a lot of activity, a gunshot is still a very distinct noise.
Right.
And somewhere often echoing through the town, but not all that far away. So it's a distance away, but it's not like, it's close enough you can hear it. Mm-hmm. You hear a distant gunshot. And before you can even fully process what you just heard, you start to hear a staccato of multiple guns being fired.
Okay.
And Sonia looks up from some notes she had been making and the tic-tac-toe thing and says, "The hell is that?"
I pull my knife out and I'll say, "Shh. Killing."
Killing? She gets up and she walks toward the hallway.
Yeah.
And
I say, you don't walk towards killing, you walk away from killing.
I don't think anyone's killing in the hallway. Are you saying it was gunfire?
Yes. Echoing off the building. First one, then many. Close. Very close.
She goes back into the room, says, well, maybe we should go deeper into the compound. There's guards there.
Where's my crew?
Well, they're at the trial.
Where?
I could show you on a map, but I don't know the... I'll try to explain by landmarks, but...
The big silver thing.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but promise me you're going to be careful.
I promise.
Okay. Mortimer, I'm not going to make you roll for this because, first of all, it's well within your wheelhouse to track things based off of landmarks.
Okay.
But also on top of that, once you are outside the place, following the sound of the noise isn't all that difficult. The gunfire does seem to taper off a bit. Like it's that staccato starts to slow down, and there's just the occasional gunshot here and there. But you can hear now people yelling, and as you make your way that direction, you even see the first trickles of people that are fleeing that area. All right, cut back.
My ass!
Lee, you've just been shot in the ass while this bee sting to your butt. I don't know if you even noticed in the adrenaline or not.
Right.
Casey grabbed you with one hand, and he grabbed Emily with the other, and is dragging you guys towards the edge of the stage. Phil and Joe, you guys had taken cover, had managed to at least get out of the way. And
I assume it's like a riot of people running and screaming and
yes,
yeah,
that's
chaos.
Right now it's chaos. The only people that seem even slightly composed is the handful of armed guards from the two houses, Holloway and Culler, who are currently caught up in a...
And the overseer's guards took them away.
They yanked him off. Right. And they are currently in a low-level skirmish between the two platforms. And you don't know if anyone's, unless you want to hang around and find out, you don't know if anyone's aiming at you specifically so much as you guys just happen to be in the middle of chaos.
Right.
So, Joe.
Well, so assuming that I'm still down because we do it for cover, but then if I recall correctly, Casey said, follow me and started plowing through the crowd. And so I was getting up to follow Casey, but I wanted to basically take a quick scan because I don't know where the discernible exits are. I don't know where the safe exits are. Oh. So I want to sort of basically look ahead in the direction that Casey's going, just to see, is this a safe route or can I see a better route?
Okay. The area is relatively dark to begin with. Okay. I mean, of course, it's at night. Right. Now, there are the two torch lights or the two braziers that are burning on either side of the now vacant Overseer's throne. And there is a single floodlight or spotlight that is just hanging there fixed on the fallen Sunset. That's a weird phrase. On Sunset, who is fallen, and the weird foam coming out of his mouth, plus the blood from the battle. His opponent, Alistair's nowhere to be seen. Mm-hmm. And the whole situation is such chaos. And especially now that you're turning away from the lights, your eyes aren't really well adjusted. So I'll let you look things over, but do me a favor, and I want you to give me a perception check, and I will let you invoke your, don't you have like excellent?
Remarkable eyesight.
Remarkable eyesight, yeah. Okay. So you cannot critically fail this.
Which is good, because they almost did.
I rolled very poorly, so I have an 11 total.
Okay, so you rolled wanishly.
Yeah, I did roll wanishly. Those dice have to be destroyed.
All right, so you don't... It's chaos. Okay. Part of it is you don't have a background in this. You're not even sure what safe would look like. Right. I mean, certainly getting away from the gunfire is a good idea. Casey seems to be going for a direct route. He's going to the edge of the platforms, and he's lifting up Lee and Emily, and given his posture, you think he's going to jump.
Wow. All right, well...
How high up is the platform?
You're going to be going down about 6 or 8 feet.
That's life. What am I going to do? Wrestle him? Stop!
Phil? Or Joe, you're
No, I'm going to... If it's looking like he's going to jump, then I'm going to follow his lead as necessary.
Yeah, as I'm following him, knowing that I've never been in anything like this, he seems to have a clue what's going on. I'm not even looking around. I'm just blindly following him.
Okay.
So when he gets to that, it's like I will go up to the edge, and I'm not going to blindly jump. I'm going to try to lower myself down.
Okay, yeah. Casey, with no problem, jumps the edge and disappears. And because it's about a 1-story drop off, he's
already like 6, 8 feet, or 6.5 feet tall.
He's a huge guy to begin with. So Lee, when he hits down, you get a little bit of a shock through the body, but it's nothing severe. And Emily, who he's got up, she makes a grunting noise as the wind gets knocked out of her, but otherwise is fine.
Yeah.
And he puts you both down. Well, he wasn't lifting you; he's just holding you.
Right.
He lets go of you and puts her down and starts ushering you. Who's like, "Come on, we have to go. We have to get out of this place."
Lee. Actually, I just want to make a smarts roll to see if is Lee freaking out or is Lee able to contain himself?
Oh, sure.
So
I won't stop anyone from self-imposing a roll.
5, 6, 7, 8, 18. So
that's a significant success.
Lee, he picks himself up. He's looking around and he puts his hands on Casey's chest. He's like, "No, stop. We have to get the others." And he looks right in Casey's eyes, and he says, "We have to go to Sunset's house."
He gives you a very strange look, and like he's still processing.
Right.
He has this look on his face that is unblinking, and his expression doesn't change. But just like a man running on multiple channels, as he's still holding an expression, he turns around to the platform that he just jumped off of, and holding it with one hand, pulls himself up a little bit And Joe, as you're crawling towards the edge, he grabs you by the shoulder and pulls you over the edge and puts you down. You're not falling. He's just takes you down with one arm and puts you on the ground.
I'm a little embarrassed because I'm not a toddler, but I'm not going to fight him.
Phil, you can jump, or otherwise he's going to...
So I wasn't just going to jump. I was running up to the edge and trying to kind of do like he was going. I was going to lower myself down, so...
Okay, you're taking too long, so Casey puts you down. He turns back to you, he's like, why in God's name would you want to go there of all places?
You gotta follow a trail, man.
Joe hears the tail end of that. Where are we going?
We're going to go south. We're going to go to the south side.
But Motomar's back at the compound.
We got to get out of town before we get shot.
No, we've got to get Motomar. We've got to get the horses.
Yeah, and get out of town.
He kneels down and motions for you guys to do the same, because there is still it's slowing down, but there is still the occasional here and there shot from a uncomfortably close proximity right behind you guys.
We have... He gets down. He's looking at you guys. We have a shot. A very slim shot at stopping this. We have to go to Sunset's house. And he's looking right at Casey.
Okay, Chad, you did well enough on an int check that I'm going to throw in a bonus factoid.
Okay.
As you're playing the scene back in your mind, it was really hard to tell because of everyone's focus was downward on the pit fight while it was occurring, and then laterally as the exchange was happening between the heads of between Duchess and Winslow.
Excuse me.
You're not sure where the call of true war came from. Mm-hmm. It was close enough. It was almost certainly the crowd.
Sure.
The gunshot, it sounded like it came from higher up. Maybe one of the nearby buildings.
I glance up and kind of look around. I don't really expect anybody to be sticking out, but if they are, I kind of want to...
No, you don't see anyone sticking out. I will, however, give you a perception check. So 2d6 plus perception. Let's see if you happen to notice...
5 plus 7.
So a 12. Okay, so an average success. You do notice there is a building that looks mostly abandoned. Once upon a time, this was a high-rise of some kind. To the best of your knowledge, it's not in use except by squatters. And there are windows that would have a good view of this place if somebody wanted to take a shot from there.
But it's multi-story, right? I mean, it's not like 2 stories.
Correct. It goes up a good dozen.
We would have to search the place.
Yeah, it goes up a good dozen.
Based on where we're at.
I'm gonna grab Lee by the right shoulder and try to, because I see him looking at this building, right? And I'm gonna shake him out of it because there's still gunfire going. Lee, if we're gonna go, we gotta go. We gotta go now.
How do you even know where Sunset lives?
He's a friend of mine.
When I figured you would know where he lives.
We're gonna get shot if we stay here.
Right.
Is Motomar's the compound south of here? Is it like along the way?
Yes.
Okay. Quick detour. We'll pick up Motomar and we'll head to Sunset's house.
All right.
And even if it wasn't, it would be now. Metagame, I'm sure, would be real fun for Eric.
The compound's like 65 miles away.
Yeah.
I mean,
Might as well
get walking.
Might as well give Eric a Game Boy or something. At least he's done for the night.
So, and Lee's like, not now. We gotta go. But
when we're safe, you need to level with us.
All right. You guys can see down and off a ways where the carriages that had brought you here had stopped. That one of them, you're guessing, has Duchess in it because there are a couple guys with rifles now hanging off of it. And you can see quite a bit of activity inside of it, and they are going. Yeah, they're thrashing the reins at the horses, and they're going. And you can see a few stragglers from that armed contingent who one of them calls to you guys, because there is still one carriage that hasn't departed. One of them calls to you guys and says, "If you want to outrun," and they're grabbing the last bits of their stuff and preparing to bolt.
Let's get out of here.
Let's go where we're going.
To them, no, like if you start making towards Lee puts his hand like, no, we gotta go our own way. There's too much shit going on.
But they're going back to where Motomar is. It's the fastest way to get there.
And they might get attacked along the way.
So might we.
Lee knows the city, and
I can get us lost in the city in a good way. We need to get out of here. And he starts kind of hurting you guys. I mean, not violently, but starts kind of hurting you guys to start just moving in a direct route. And he actually seems to be going with the crowd, not against.
But so far, no one's aggressing us, right?
Correct. No one so far outside of the one shot that Lee took to the ass.
Yeah. No, I just meant during
why am I limping?
During the escape, I was concerned. No one's approached us. No one's tried to stop us. No one's.
Casey just said the armor. It's conspicuous.
Lee, as they're running, Lee's like limping. He's like, what? He kind of turns around. He's like, there's a bullet lodged in the place. He's like, I got shot in the ass. He's like, I think I'm okay. Ow.
Now that you've noticed it, it's going to hurt. And the next time you sit down, it's going to hurt really bad.
As we're ducking down streets and alleyways and stuff, I'm like, I kind of want to get rid of the armor now. This thing would have gone through me. He like shows you his ass. Look at this. Look at that.
I'm gonna lift up because they're like it's like a plate.
Yeah.
I'm gonna lift it up and just make sure it didn't penetrate.
No, it didn't penetrate.
You're fine. And I'm gonna slap him on the other cheek. Let's go.
Dude, son of a bitch. He starts doing that limp walk.
How thick is this armor? Because I've got my trench coat on. Can I cover it to not be conspicuous?
Fairly well. Yeah, so you'd have to ditch the helmet. You can, I mean, if someone walks up to you, they're going to notice it. Could you conceal it in such a way that no one would notice it at a glance? Yes. Could you conceal it completely? No.
I'm going to do that because I don't want to give it up when we're running through the city.
Okay, so you guys are keeping the armor for now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
I'm keeping it.
All right. So as you guys start going toward the city and trying to snake your way generally southward.
Actually, on the armor thing, let me ask a quick question. Does this thing have the emblems of house color on it?
Oh, yeah. Fuck. That's why Casey was commenting it's conspicuous.
Like, can I rip? Is it patches I can rip off or something I could cover with that ugly ass shawl that he got?
It's a paint stencil, number one. So no, it's not removable. And two, that ugly shawl that my mother made is still on Emily. Or at least she is with the person who last
that's
had
right,
it.
we did give
Yeah.
The emblems are easy enough for me to cover with the coat, though.
It's up to you guys.
let's go.
Okay, so all right, you guys start moving south. As you're moving southward and inward, so you're trying to move toward a more southerly part of the city, Mortimer, you find that as you get closer to where these sounds were coming from, and once in every few seconds or every few moments, you still hear another gunshot. Mm-hmm. The crowd of people's making it somewhat difficult. You're fish swimming upstream.
Right.
Are you just going to keep trying to push your way? Or are you going to look for like a higher place to see from? What's your strategy here?
Yeah, I'll climb up a light pole.
Okay.
And like just about halfway up and just look around and see if I can see anything.
He sees Casey and 3 house-colored guards with cutlasses.
That's actually pretty much what you do see. Well, not with the cutlass. Well, I guess with the cutlasses.
Yeah. Escorting a little girl.
Yeah.
They specifically asked if they could bring them, and they said yes. Just don't pull them out.
I'm wearing mine.
Yeah. So okay. So you do see your compatriots.
You see Lee pull it out, and you tell him just to put it back.
You see your compatriots are running generally in your direction. They don't appear to be running right at you, but it would not be all that difficult for you to intercept them.
Okay.
14 on perception. Do I see them?
You see, yeah. There's not a whole lot of people hanging off of.
Look!
He's also well illuminated.
Yeah.
Because the light poles out here work.
Yeah, because it's the area. Yeah. There's Motomar!
So there's a wall of people that between me and them. So what I'll do is I'll drop down, knowing what I know about civilized folk.
You hear some wheezing and a few footsteps behind you. Sonia.
Right.
Starts.
What? I strip naked.
God! We know!
I say, civilized folks don't like naked men. And then I start just waving my arms going, so people will part around
dick.
Motomar, people do in fact art around you.
We're about to have a business meeting, guys.
A few even take side streets and cut away. And
I don't know about you, Joe, but I feel a little inadequate.
Dr. Marshall is once again face in hands, like, put your damn clothes on.
Are they? So people are moved out of the way now.
Yeah. And so,
yeah, works every time.
Captain, this has been a theme all fucking night long. Motomar, put your clothes on is not something I should have to say at all.
Sometimes we just get tired of saying it. We just let them run around naked for days.
Good thing you learned the phrase early.
He actually seems to listen.
I look at her and I very seriously, are you okay?
I'm fine. What the hell's going on?
I got shot in the ass. Want to see?
Civil War. Hollow and Colors open fire on each other. We need to go.
We'll fill you in along the way, but we need to move.
I agree. We got to get back inside.
Actually, we need to take a quick detour.
What?
If you're not comfortable, head back. We'll be back. We have to make a quick detour.
It's a good question. Why? Why aren't we getting inside or on the boat? Why aren't we getting out of the city? And I'm looking directly at Lee when I say this.
Because my gut tells me that Lee is onto something.
We're going to risk our lives for this, though, you know.
I know, but if we can put an end to this or postpone it at least, he's got a hunch. Just trust him.
All right. Why are we going there? We can talk while we go.
Okay, so you guys
walking
continue. You're headed inward towards the.
And not a casual stroll.
Yes. So not sprinting, but you are making good time in a in an inward southwesterly push into the city.
What are we looking for? When we get there, what are we looking for?
I believe Sunset threw the fight. I don't believe that he was poisoned, and he keeps glancing at Casey. He's like, I believe he poisoned himself to throw the fight.
Okay. And we're looking for proof of that, then.
Yes, especially who told him to do that. I think there's a trail here. I think that someone convinced him to throw the fight. We're looking for proof for that. And if we can tie that to somebody, then maybe we can find a trail. Maybe we can present that to the overseers. Maybe they can use that to stop this. Maybe. This might spiral out of control. This has never happened before.
Okay, that makes sense. Does it really take that long to explain it?
Well, I got shot in the ass.
Okay, that's fair.
But why throw the fight that way? Why not just throw the fight?
Spectacle.
Losing the fight wouldn't have led to what we just saw, I don't think.
Yeah. The goal was not to get one house or the other to win or lose. The goal was revolution.
Did you catch the names that were being thrown around for the contract?
I did.
I look at Joe. Did you catch it?
What are you talking about? What contract?
The contract to kill the man that was supposed to come and talk to our town
Oh,
was notarized by my friend and we ran into him.
I wouldn't tell anyone he's your friend from this point forward.
You mean the guy you were talking to in Washington?
Yes, we ran into him in Washington.
Mm-hmm.
We ran into Cyrus in
In Defiance.
In Defiance.
Right.
It's not adding up. If he notarized it and Cyrus delivered the papers where we knew they were at, all of that is after that messenger was supposed to have been in town. Someone's lying to us.
As you guys head deeper into town, the look of the town's street by street begins to change quite dramatically. Less streetlights are working. Eventually, no streetlights are working. What light you do see is coming from lanterns, trash can fires. There are people that are wandering about. A few of them hanging out on porches of the old brownstone homes, watching you guys walk by, talking amongst themselves just about whatever. And as they see such a peculiar looking group walk by, many of them fall quiet until you pass. Nobody interferes with you. And there's more clutter in the street. Things are less kempt. You don't see any banners of the houses hung here. The people don't seem to have any norm of dress. It's urban blight, and it's a very, very different place than what you saw up north. And it's the sort of transition that you think if you were going faster, if you're like on horseback or in a car, would almost seem like going to the wrong side of the tracks. But on foot, you see that transition change, that it occurs more slowly, more subtly. The air is cold. It's still fall, and the air is cold. And now that night is set, there's a cold wind blowing in from the river. You don't hear the gunfire. You're not sure if the fighting has stopped or if you've just gotten far enough away from it that you don't hear it anymore. And you do eventually reach what was once Sunset's house.
That bastard Cyrus, that's how he got that boat. He was brought here, was how he got here fast enough to be here. He's involved in all this somehow.
Mm-hmm. I knew something was rotten about that.
Mm-hmm.
Was that Spitbook?
Spitbook, yeah.
Yeah. I said at the time, he got here too fast.
Well,
right.
Likely the boat, and Lee said at the boat end, and he kind of trails off, is probably a reward for doing that.
Because we were on a fast boat. He doesn't get here unless he was brought here specifically to do what he did.
So Sunset has a mother. She's rather old. But we need to search his house.
Okay.
And his mother doesn't know he's dead.
Are you one of you two going to tell her?
The door opens, and seeing elderly woman standing there.
Lee looks at her, and his mouth opens, and just
like, oh
nothing comes out.
No. And she starts crying. She turns and doesn't even seem to notice the door's still open, just walks back into the house and collapses onto the couch that's in the front room and is just sobbing.
Lee walks into the house and into the room, and again he motions with his hands at her and opens his mouth, and it's like he's trying to say something and nothing comes out.
Gets up from the couch, still sobbing, and hugs you and is clutching you. And Casey's standing back. He ushers everyone in and then closes the door, and he's standing in front of the door, blocking it.
I'm going to take my helmet off. Undo the
Don't
buckle and take it off.
don't tell me how it happened. I just want to know one thing. How much did my baby suffer?
Not at all.
Don't you lie to me.
Not at all.
She sits down, pulls a handkerchief out of a pocket, and blows her nose and covers her eyes with it. So, she looks up again, eyes blurry. Why are you the ones to be here to tell me?
Well, ma'am, there was a problem, and the fight didn't go as planned, and there are some people who are pretty angry about that. And this fight is, these fights are so that other people don't have to fight.
Yeah, what I know is my baby went to fight against Housecaller, and now a bunch of you assholes from Housecaller are standing in here.
We're not from Color, ma'am. We're wearing their armor so we don't get shot, but we're not from House Color.
I may be old, but I will slap the shit out you if you lie to me again.
I look her directly in the eye. Ma'am,
They don't just hand that out.
We bought it. We bought it from them. We made a deal for it, separate of your son and any of this. And we used it to get here safely.
we're not with them. We're not from St. Louis.
Things went bad at the fight. And because things went bad at the fight, other people started fighting and shooting.
Who?
True war.
Color and Holloway.
She lets go of Lee and sits back down on the couch and says, "And death take us all."
We're trying to see if we can stop the true war.
What the hell do you want from me? My baby was all I had.
You were very sick. You're not sick now. Who was Sunset working with to get the medicine he gave you?
See if she even knows. And if I tell you, what are you going to do?
We're going to find that person, if you do know, and we're going to try to stop the war that's coming. That's what we want to do. We want to stop everybody killing each other. I don't know how. I don't have a big grand plan. I'm grasping at anything I can to stop all these people from killing each other.
Little Billy was all I had in the world. When I got sick, he took me to doctors, a couple different houses, offered to trade his services, offered them anything they wanted if they could just make me better. They couldn't. They said that I had cancer. My lungs, maybe other places. It's too much. Medicines that would cure that type of thing didn't exist anymore. Not here. Maybe Jacksonville, but not here. And he tried, and he tried, and he tried, and eventually I begged and I pleaded with him. I said, Billy, if you go out there and you die, my life ain't worth living anyway. You've made enough money over the years. We got plenty saved up back from when I was still able to work. Why don't we just enjoy whatever time God will give us here together? And when the good Lord comes for me, the good Lord comes for me. And then he can get on with his life. He wouldn't give up. He kept looking. He loved me. He loved his mama, and he wasn't going to quit looking. And he used to go out, sometimes early in the morning, sometimes late at night. And he thought I didn't know, but I knew. Oh, I knew. I always heard him. These boards, they creak a certain way. I know which ones creak. I know where he's at when he's walking. I always knew what he was up to. Always knew. And I'd go and if I had the strength that day, I'd watch him from the window, see which way he went, hoping he didn't come back looking too happy. Because I knew if he did, he might have made a deal. A bargain. Save me and get himself killed. One day a courier shows up. I think he was expecting him. Because he sat down by the door right over there in that chair. That ugly old yellow chair. And he'd been sitting in it reading a book. That wasn't nothing unusual except Billy hates that damn chair. It's got a loose spring. It always used to hurt his butt. He was a big boy. That's why he was so good at doing what he did. And a man hardly was able even to knock once before he had it open. Funny looking man. Looked sicker than I am. They talked for a bit. And the door closed. When I asked him who it was, all he said was, Mama, don't you worry about it. Everything's going to be okay. I don't know who he was. Never seen him before. Didn't look like he was with any of the houses. Wasn't wearing any special colors. No armed people with him. Just walking by himself. I thought maybe he was just street rat beggar. Didn't seem like he was in good shape.
He pulls out his notebook and starts scribbling in it.
Did he bring a package that day?
No. Didn't bring nothing. Didn't bring nothing until, well, ever. First and last time I saw him.
Ma'am, did he look about like this? He holds up a picture of the man that Lee met under the arch.
Yeah. I think that's about like him. But he wasn't the one. He wasn't the one that came back, though. It was you that came back. was you that brought the package that had the medicine.
I think everyone in the room is turned and looking at Lee now.
Lee is not looking at you. He's just looking at her.
When?
Do you work for him? Are you in on this? Did you get my Billy killed?
Ma'am, when did he bring the package?
Shut up, you. God damn it, answer me. My son is dead.
Yes, ma'am. I'm involved in this, and I am responsible for the death of your son.
God damn you. God damn every one of you. And she gets up and she storms up the stairs, and you hear her door stairs slam shut.
Who is that? I'm pointing to the notebook.
I don't know his name.
Did he give you a package to deliver here?
Yes.
When? Was this when you were in St. Louis? Originally masked?
No. I got the package from him. How long has it been? A couple days?
Yeah, a couple days ago.
When we got into St. Louis, Casey and I went off. I picked up the package. I delivered it to Sunset. I didn't know what it contained.
Do you know where to find this man?
Casey walks past you guys across the room as you're talking.
But wait a minute. That's what you do, is deliver things to people.
Lee takes his helmet off and tosses it aside, and he starts unbuckling the armor, and he kind of just lets it fall and drop. And he takes off his satchel and throws it on the ground and walks over to the yellow chair and just kind of looking at it.
What aren't you telling us?
He being Casey grabs a bottle off of a shelf and walks over and puts it down on a table, and then like a coffee table in the middle. When we were here, he offered us beers. He wouldn't share that. Thought it was odd. Sunset was never sort of guy that would have a bottle of liquor and not share it with friends. I wouldn't go sampling it if I was you.
Lee looks at it. A cursory examination. Is it
I mean, nothing
like an eyeball floating?
No, there's nothing that outwardly wrong with it.
It does have a Mr. Yuck sticker, but
Yeah, it has a Mr. Yuck sticker, and there's a few dead rats floating in. No, there's nothing outwardly unusual about it.
He looks at it, hands it to Joe.
Actually, Chad, before you pass it off, give me a general perception check. I will see if there's something you notice.
8 + 7.
So 15. As you pass it off to Joe, you notice your finger actually sticks a little bit to the underside of it, like the bottom of the bottle.
Kind of.
There's a residue of an adhesive under there.
Like the bottle's been glued?
No, like something may have been glued beneath it.
Lee walks over to where the bottle came from, like the shelf.
There's a kind of a splotch there, or sort of a mark. Well, I mean, it's not new wood to begin with, but even within that, you can see a spot right where the bottle was sitting that's sticky.
I kind of investigate it.
You don't see anything specifically right there.
He puts the bottle down and he turns around to you guys.
Mm-hmm. What have you found over there? You need to start talking.
He takes his shotgun out and he puts it on the table, and then he looks at you guys. When I left St. Louis, we had a trial, like the one you saw. Casey stood for me, fought, and it wasn't that simple. A person like me and a person like Casey do not just get to leave.
We don't get a hearing.
We made a deal with whoever the fuck that is, motioning to the notebook.
The picture, right.
There was a price to be paid. Nothing's free. Modemar,
Mm-hmm.
I lied to you, and I tricked you into telling me information about the history of Joe's boat.
Why?
Because I was instructed to gather information, and I was able to get that information from you without arousing suspicion.
Oh.
I'm very sorry.
What information did you get from him?
Information about Miss Lily
My sister?
and how she died.
What?
I tricked Modemar into telling me the story of Miss Lily's vine and how it got its name.
I would have told you that.
But it would have stuck in your mind if it would have come up later. I took your book, Philip.
Chat out of character pause. Are you genuinely trying to complain? Because that's not exactly what they asked for.
What did they ask for?
They wanted to know where she was buried.
Oh, yeah. No, he says what he says.
Okay. You're thinking about that.
Because
Okay.
it's too gruesome
Right.
for him to even...
Okay. Then you say, okay, that's fine. I just wanted to know.
He also knows his sister's there, and...
Yeah. I just wanted to know. Okay.
Yep. Philip, when you were on Duchess's boat, I took your book and I transcribed it. I then delivered that book to that man.
Why? What does he want with town details?
I believe he took the copies of the book that I gave him and gave him to what's his name? Cyrus, which is the sheaf of papers he had under his arm when he came to us. He's going to use your information that I stole to make money out from under you as a reward for killing House Holloway's messenger in the name of House Color in an effort to start a civil war. And I've been using my place on Joe's boat to go up and down the river to complete other minor missions for this person. This is payment for my freedom, which isn't freedom. It was another form of slavery. Well, that doesn't excuse it.
Casey, have you been keeping secrets from us too?
Don't blame him for any of this. I am behind all of it.
It's a question, wasn't blame.
Casey has done nothing to hurt any of you.
I don't speak much. I don't say much. When I was still in the fighting stable for House Color, I knew what my end was going to be. My end was going to eventually come when either infection and complications of my surgeries get the best of me, or when I get literally hacksawed apart in the arena. And one day, one of the masked comes to me, gotten to know him over the years. They don't like to think of us this way, but the masked and the fighters, we have a lot in common. The houses own us in a way that they don't own anybody else. And he had an opportunity he could get me in on it, get me out of that fate, give me a chance to at least die peacefully in my own bed. All I had to do was win one more match. Did I know there was more to it? Yeah, there's always more to it. Have I told you any lies? No.
Thank you.
So Joe's got kind of watery eyes.
Casey walks into the kitchen.
I'm going to walk over to Philip. Or not, I'm sorry, I walk over to Lee. I look him right in the face and I say, sometimes we all make bad deals. I give him a big hug. And then I punch him as hard as I can in the stomach.
Casey walks back in. He's holding a trash can when he walks back in, and looks up to see Lee doubled over and Joe standing over him, and he kind of glances at the scene, making sure nobody has a gun, and then puts the trash can on the coffee table.
I pat Lee on the back and I say, you got me out of mine. We'll get you out of yours.
Yeah. I walk over. I kind of try to straighten you up.
Once was enough.
Is there anything else that you've kept from us? Have you put our lives in any more danger? We just got shot at multiple times, and you seem to be in the middle of all of this.
The only reason I was even going along with this is to find out where the trail led, to see what was going on. And that was a mistake. And I should have told you, and I shouldn't have followed this, and I didn't really even understand what the consequences would be. I believe that this person is trying to start a civil war. I don't know who they are or who they're working for. I don't know why they're doing it. But if we can get some proof or get this guy or something, we might be able to go to the overseers. We might convince them of what's going on. They might be able to stop this. So right here, at this moment, we either go down that path and try, or we run for it and let everything collapse.
There's a lot of mights for something that seems above our head. But you came to the city and it changed you. You came back and the city came back in you. You're not one of them anymore, damn it. You're one of us again. And that means no more secrets. You gotta stop acting like them. Everything that we've seen in this city that is all fucked up, you've been doing it. To our faces, to our backs, around us. That has to end right now.
I pick up the bottle. I pick up Lee's satchel. I put the bottle in Lee's I make sure the cap's on tight. I put it in Lee's satchel. I look right at Lee and I say, he ain't wrong.
Casey is holding two items in his hands. He's pulled from the trash can. One, Phil, you would probably recognize what it is. One of them is it's a silver tube, at the tip of which is a sort of like a triangular shape. You would recognize it as a pneumatic injector. And he also pulls out a small glass, looks like a dish, maybe like a container, about the size of a little bit bigger than a quarter. So maybe about the size like a silver dollar or so. And as he holds it up, he touches the top of it with one of his fingers. When he lifts it up, you can see that it sticks to his finger. And he puts both of those down. And then he takes the trash can and puts it back in the kitchen.
I kind of look at, what's her name?
Dr. Marshall?
Yeah.
Or Emily?
Dr. Marshall. Okay, Dr. Marshall. I know what that is. And I point to the disc next. What's that?
She picks it up and looks at it, and she says, "It's nothing medically significant, if that's what you mean. It's a little..." She twists it, and the top of it comes off, and that's the part that's stuck to her hand. She's like, just, I don't know, just a little container. Somebody, I don't know, was in it. She sniffs it. It didn't smell like anything significant.
Can you tell what was in the injector?
Maybe. She picks it up and says, it's actually funny. Never mind, nothing about this is funny. It's unusual. I had wanted to see one of these for years. Here's my chance. And she twists it and pops out 2 of the components and puts one down. She's like, that just would contain the air necessary to do the injection. Compressed, nothing special. This, though, she takes out the glass vial that was inside of it that would have contained the medication. She holds it up to a light and turns it over a few times. And she says, well, this is damn odd. I'm not familiar with this medication name. And I don't mean that in the sense that I've never had possession of it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a saying among doctors that you can't remember any face that you saved, but you remember every face that you lost. And so I can't believe I'm telling you people this, but I spend a lot of time wishing I had things I didn't. Wondering what it would have been like to practice medicine back in a day when that actually meant something. When you could actually save patients. And so I can't believe medical books are kind of like fantasies to me. So I know a lot of medications that aren't around anymore. I'm telling you this, I've never heard of this drug before. I mean, I can check a book to make sure I'm not forgetting it. My memory's good. It's not perfect, but maybe I'm just forgetting something. Maybe it was an alternate name. Medications before the war, they sometimes had different chemical names. They had brand names. Those brand names sometimes changed from one country to the next, or one manufacturer to the next. Maybe it's an alternate name of a drug I know, but
could it be just something really rare?
It could be, but there were textbooks, well, not exactly textbooks, there were reference books that they would use, that they would look up medications like this, so they would know who to give them to, under what circumstances, what other drugs they would interact with. We don't worry about that so much anymore, because who's on one drug, much less two?
Would they have books like that back where the horses were whispered?
If they don't have them there, I can get them through House Caller. I would just have to go back to the complex, and even if they're not in my personal library, Dr. Abrams, he certainly has them.
Could they make new drugs there? Could this be something new?
Well, is it possible? I guess, but I would think I would have heard of it. I mean, for something like this to be out there, and I would also think they'd find more, if they're trying to hide it, first of all, they wouldn't label the vial. And if they were trying to hide it, why use this? Why use this? Why not just use the standard hypodermic?
I'm going to go to the window and just take a look out, just scan the street.
It's pitch black out there, okay, and you've been sitting in at least a dimly lit room, right, so your eyes are a little poorly adjusted, but I will go ahead and give you
just curious. Well, with perception, that would be 13.
You see a trio of soldiers walking past. Mm-hmm. The patches on their arms it's a sort of like a shield shape, one half of which is black, one half of which is white. Mm-hmm. These are not house soldiers. This is the military of St. Louis. This is the one that the houses are allowed to keep a standing guard.
Right.
This is the real deal.
Okay.
So this is like going from...
These are the forces of the overseers.
Yes.
Right.
Correct.
All right.
And they're not. You don't know what they're doing, but they're walking up the street. But they're not like coming to the door.
Right. Okay.
So, the container that container you were describing, the small one, how big? Does it look like it could hold pills? Like a couple pills?
The one that was sticky?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. It looks like it could contain some. It could have held tablets or gel caps or something. It's a sufficient size.
Does that,
I'm looking at it.
Phil, does that container match up to the stickiness that Lee found?
Jack, I want to take it kind of.
Oh yeah, the adhesive's a perfect fit.
Yeah.
What is it? Well, I don't get the connection.
So, this is reminding me of a book I read once. It was a spy book where when they would capture the bad guys, they would eat a pill or bite on a tooth, and then they would foam at the mouth and die. I look. Do they have pills like that here?
Pills filled with cyanide? Or of the poison?
I kind of look. That was the word.
Easy enough to make.
Poison's easy.
It could fit in this container. That's just my guess.
And they also inject themselves with something before the match.
Well, we should hold tight for a minute before we decide before we decide to leave, because there are city guards patrolling the street. They should be passing by here in a moment or two, but we should sit tight for a few minutes, make sure the coast is clear before we go. But we need to take those and the bottle, and we need to get back to the color compound. If nothing else, for safety. But I think at this point, we may be able, you guys at least, might be able to get some extra answers from looking at this medicine.
I look over at Casey. I know nothing like this seems to have ever happened before, but is the compound safe? Is this going to be war in the streets between the two houses? Are they going to be shooting at each other's houses or fighting in the streets?
Happened before.
He's right. If there is war in the streets, the two safest places to be are either going to be in the compound because it's defended, or a long way away from the city.
Yeah, I kind of look. I know it's never happened before. This is a man that knows fighting, though.
You've got a lot of.
His guesses are better than ours.
You've got a lot of armed groups. You've got a lot of old grudges, and you have a lot of people who could not be involved in this, but see opportunities.
That's what scares me. Lee's right. If Collar and Holloway fight, that's one type of fight. But the other houses are going to see blood in the water. Collar and Holloway might be weak. Collar and Holloway they make the right overtures to the overseer. They might be able to convince them that Collar and Holloway are so far out of line that they have to be disbanded, split up, reorganized, and
there could be a program.
Or there's another option of houses work together, and we have the equivalent of a world war.
Anything could happen.
So, Lee, let me ask: is there value in getting back to the compound and taking what we found and turning it over to House Color?
Anything House Color presents is going to be suspect.
I'll take one step back.
I'm not going to hit you again.
Well, no. Lee says I'm going to take one step back. I'm going to I'm going to ask the question again. It wasn't really answered. Do we follow this trail with all of its mights and maybes and probably isn't going to work, or do we run?
Let's figure out what the trail is and then make that decision. The question I would have is, who would we take this information to? I don't think anyone's going to believe anything that House Color or Holloway says. It has to be some third party.
Motomar starts to get really nervous, like pacing the room.
The guy that was over the whole thing. The guy presiding over it.
If only he had a nickname.
The overseer?
That rat. If only.
No, the overseer.
The overseer.
Yeah, the overseer. Could we take this to him?
That would be my plan, is to gather enough information and enough proof and then go to him. The trouble is getting the proof to build the case and then getting to him without dying.
Lee. So, who did Sunset work for?
He points to the
Who did he fight for?
No, not him. He worked for and he fought for his mother.
When he took the pill, he was fighting for his mother.
yeah.
But in the fight, he represented House Holloway.
So, how much longer until House Holloway comes to this house, looking for answers like we did?
Right now, they're confused. They're in the middle of a firefight. But it's a good question.
Holloway may not go looking for answers if they don't know there's questions to be answered.
They also might not be concerned with answers and just concerned with wiping things out.
But this guy, right? I point to the picture, the sketch that Lee has. This guy. So House Holloway didn't know that this man was involved. They just simply hired Sunset to represent them in the arena.
Lee walks up to
This is
Motomar
separate.
as you're talking, and he holds 2 coins out and gives them to you. And then as you're talking, he walks up to Philip and he holds out 2 coins and gives them to him. And then he walks up to Joe and gives Joe 2 coins. And then he walks up to Emily and he gives Emily 1 coin.
What are these? I'm also looking to see where the coins are. Are they St. Louis currency?
No, you've never seen coins like this before. They're relatively nondescript. They seem to be marked. They're of irregular shape. They're all marked with like geometric patterns. You have no idea what to make of these things. They don't appear to be made out of any particularly precious metal. The patterns would certainly be hard to recreate without highly specialized tools. They also may mean something that mathematics, geometry, things like that's not your background, but they may even mean something.
But they're definitely not St. Louis currency.
No, this is not St. Louis currency. In fact, you're not sure they're actually worth anything.
Every time I turned in a mission, I was paid.
Where are these for? These aren't St. Louis money.
I don't know. They were given to me.
And
This
they
payment.
didn't tell you to do anything? They just...
But maybe we'll find something out.
Out of respect, I think we ought to go. Let a grieving woman grieve. Get back to House Caller. Maybe the doctor can find out what this was that was injected into Sunset's mother.
She saw the scabby man.
See what?
She saw the scabby man.
Yeah.
Look down at the emblem on my armor, like, take off my coat and I'll start taking off my armor. Like, I'm pretty sure the Duchess wants these back, but I'm pretty sure I don't want to be seen with this on the street anymore.
I make sure the logo is covered with my coat and I keep it on.
All right, so you guys make your way back to the color complex.
I gather my stuff, but I leave the armor.
Okay. By the time that you guys get there, their guard has clearly tightened up. There are more of Color's house guards that are deployed walking the perimeter of the complex, walking around the iron fence that's there.
Dan, right before we get to the compound, like a block or so away,
Okay.
I'm looking around for somewhere. Basically, my thought is there somewhere I can ditch the armor close by and hide it, and then potentially come back and get it if we have a chance on the way out?
Is it possible? Yes. I will tell you, Game Master to player, they're going to want this back.
Yeah, everyone else left theirs at the house, so they don't have it.
I did not. I'm literally
you
carrying
brought it
mine.
with you?
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. If you brought yours with you, that's different.
No, I'm literally carrying mine.
Okay,
But
I thought you left it at the house.
no. Lee left his at the house, but Joe's definitely taking his with him.
Casey took Lee's because your contract was to be given armor for the use of the trial.
Okay, never mind. If theirs came back with them, then I wouldn't do that. That was only if they left theirs back at the house that I was going
Breaching
to
that contract would not be in your interest at this point. So you guys reach the house, or the complex, and upon seeing you approach, the guards recognize you and they let you pass. And they do collect the armor from you, and they start shouting orders amongst themselves to take it back, and put it in the armor and get it ready for use. Dr. Marshall heads inside, and she goes upstairs to some other location. You guys are currently back at your rooms. When could you pass me a handful of those delicious whatever they are?
Caramel dittos.
Jenny's caramel dittos.
Where did you get those? Were those at...
We affectionately call these ghetto snacks. Because you really can't find them anywhere else.
I don't know if you were watching Brodo, but one thing that was really good was I've been taking this and adding the peanut butter.
I've never had a snack. I mean, it tastes like a bite of pancake with syrup on it. It's amazing.
Yeah, the first time I ever had them, they sell them at the
like
gift shop at my work.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what in the hell are these? And then...
Gift shop.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, you were in a hospital.
Yeah.
Okay. As well.
Are there guards near our room? Is there anyone, I want to ask someone along the way, is there any word on the Duchess? Is she okay?
Okay. The guards don't seem to know.
Okay.
However,
I figured they might not.
It's not long before you guys are clustered around your bedrooms, and Dr. Marshall comes back downstairs. And she has some scribbled notes on a piece of paper. And she comes back down and says, 2 bits of news. First of all, Dr. Abrams is telling me that the Duchess's condition is a bit touch and go. She's going to have to appoint somebody to take over until she can fully recoup. She suffered a shot through one of her lungs. We're fortunate in that it didn't hit her heart, so she does have a good chance of survival. But it's going to be a complicated process and probably a very uncomfortable recovery. Your medication here. So, why don't we step into one of the rooms? And she goes into the room that still has the table where you guys can see. Sitting next to it, Joe, I think, Joe, you were sharing the room with Modamar?
With Modamar, yeah.
Yeah, there's a table and 2 chairs there now. There's a discarded chessboard, a discarded checkers board, a discarded Connect 4 board, a discarded tic-tac-toe board.
I just look at Joe knowingly and give him a nod like, yeah.
Once you guys are...
I look at Modamar, I look at the doctor, I look at Modamar's bed, and then back at Modamar confused.
She says, so I looked for this particular name of drug. Couldn't find it. I'm positive if this was something that existed back then, either I don't have the book, and neither does Dr. Abrams, or it wasn't documented. It might have been something somebody was experimenting with. But I can tell you one thing with perfect certainty. It's not from around here. There's a prefix in the drug name. If you notice right here, ESO was used to denote medications that had to be made in low gravity. They're oftentimes made literally up, way up. Space stations.
The moon?
Possibly. I don't know what's up there right now. Maybe.
Still alive up there?
What could you
It's made of cheese.
Lee, the individual you've been interacting with, could you describe him for me? Not the picture, but could you describe him?
Lee gives a description because I don't remember what he said. Beyond the glasses and the crazy. Does he seem? Okay, Lee is going to try and recall with this information. Does the man seem slight? Did he seem to have trouble moving? Did he seem like he was in pain?
Does your picture have the goggles on?
No, because I wanted to show the face.
He always had the goggles on. You've never seen him without them. Now you could have removed them.
I did not draw the goggles because I just wanted to see the.
It's like, well, yeah, and the answer to your questions is yes. He'll always look very pale. He always looked very sick. He always seemed to be struggling a bit physically. You never saw him do any feats of strength or acrobatics or things like that. And if she listens to you describe it, she's like, well, that I can tell you without even opening a book. Never treated anybody for it, but in one of my little flights of fantasy,
he's from
low gravity.
Low gravity. His limbs are longer because it doesn't have gravity pulling him down, but his muscles are atrophied because there's no gravity. He doesn't strengthen them.
And
how long would something like that last?
The condition?
Yeah.
Oh, potentially his whole life. Without very careful medical intervention that I don't think even exists on this planet anymore.
But he would he would develop it in space?
Well, it's not that he would develop it. He would simply have always been that way. It's quite we're all products of our environment to an extent. You look something like your mother and father, but the
bones are lighter. They're not as strong.
What I'm asking is, if his parents had been in space and had him, would he have it?
No.
So he himself was born into that.
Maybe. Maybe. I mean, there could be other things before we start.
It's possible that it could be. He could have. There are diseases that cause that. There are diseases of the connective tissue, such as Marfan's, which is a genetic condition. He could have that. There are conditions of the skin, such as vitiligo, that cause a bleaching of the skin. It is possible he is simply highly genetically defective. He could be just
a mess.
But what are the odds he would have all of those?
Well, what are the odds that man fell from the sky? I mean, I'm not saying he didn't. Let's just be careful about jumping to conclusions. I mean, what are the chances of there still being people living in the space stations above us?
And that's why I was asking if his parents maybe had been up there and came down before.
What would they have eaten? I mean, where's the water coming from? There's no way that the space stations are still habited. Just sure, they're still floating around out there, but they're filled with dead people.
And while I certainly can't imagine the lab that you were taken to being involved in this, one thing that we do still have the technology to do, even if quite imperfectly, is mess with genetics. This is going into the realm of science fiction, but he could be a mistake.
Yeah. I want to do I guess this would be a smarts roll to see, do I know either the moon station or the space station, did they grow things?
Did they grow food?
Yes, that's what I'm wanting to know. Do I know the answer
Okay.
to that? Was all of their food brought up, or did they have, agriculture?
Okay.
I can't think of the word for it.
Hydroponics.
Yes. Come on, don't suck.
Hydroponics, and I've heard there's one of stuff like even hydroponics where it is actually a self-sustaining system.
14.
14. Okay. The answer to your question is yes, both. The answer to your question is they did grow some food up there. However, one of the things that the moon base lacked was, there's a variety of things that lacked. It did not have locally sufficient resources to be truly self-sufficient. And especially if you're to presume a growing population over time, even with population controls and such, they would have to be getting supplies from somewhere. Now, it's fairly common. It's a terribly kept secret, if it's even something you can call a secret, that the people that trade in places like Waycross, Georgia, which is the only place that Jacksonville has a market, they do tell stories of seeing ships and airplanes and such, or what appear to be spacecraft, going from the Naval Air Station there in Jacksonville upward. Like
We probably
way
wouldn't
upward.
have heard that because we're not in that area.
But no, you still are. You're merchants. I mean,
Okay.
it's bar tales.
Yeah.
You don't know any of the details, but you do. You've heard it
Okay,
happens.
so I kind of get you. So they grew food up there.
Not enough. And then they had to have all kinds of equipment to maintain it.
I'm not saying they're alive up there, because I assume they weren't. But there are stories I never believed that ships go from Jacksonville up.
Is this guy from the moon? Sure, why not? But how does that impact us?
I don't know that it does, other than if he's working for some other faction that got him here from space. This is bigger than St. Louis.
Well, it's always been bigger than us.
Yes. That's a given.
Still want to pursue the maybe and the might? Or do you want to jump on the boat and run?
If we run, what are the consequences?
If the alternative is we succeed and we decide to run instead, the consequence is a whole lot of people die. Because remember that conversation we had in, I think it was Defiance, about why St. Louis, why this system, why all that, and I said because of Motomar. People like Motomar. St. Louis is not the best system. I don't like it. I want to change it. That's why I got out. I actually have a dream of doing something more. I have this dream of a revolution, but not like this. St. Louis stops people from killing each other in mass. And it is a unified front against the collapse of civilization here. If that system falls, who knows how far the ripples will go out? Those ripples could go as far out as home, as Herman.
Here's something else. If whoever, I point that, if whoever he's working with is some outside force, and they caused this, they don't care about which house is in power. They want the houses to fight to weaken them so they can take over.
Let me ask you a question. Does Herman grow enough food to feed itself? I know the answer to this question. It's not a good answer. Does Herman produce enough actual food, not grapes, but actual food to feed itself?
No.
Okay. No, I mean, we make a lot of food, but it's not enough.
Where do we get the food from?
We trade for it
With?
with wine and other goods.
Who do we trade with?
Well, I mean, I guess Philip could give you a list.
Sanctioned members of the houses controlled by St. Louis in protected trade routes.
Cities we know it's safe to go into because
St. Louis exists. When ists attack Herman, we defend it alongside of who? The military. That will go away for a time if this civil war happens. Think those are the consequences. Those are the consequences of failure. Those are the consequences of running. I'm sorry I betrayed all of you. I'm sorry I'm a part of this. Do we pursue the maybe, or do we run?
Okay, says Philip. Your buddy that they're implicating in this whole thing, saying he delivered that letter.
I don't think there's any way he could have.
You trust him?
He is a businessman. He would love to undercut me, but he's not a bad guy. I would trust him with my life.
Just not your wallet.
Your wife.
Exactly.
There's no way Philip could get a wife.
I'm not married.
Hamlet goes.
He's no murderer. He wouldn't have a part in murder.
If they find him and catch him,
He's gonna have a part.
If they find him and catch him, he's dead.
Yep.
Because his name was just said out in front of all of that.
Captain, what's the decision? You could hang me from a yardarm later. What are we going to do now?
I look quickly before you start. I don't know what he's going to end up wanting to do about you, but we're not hanging you. We're going to get it through to you. You're one of us now. And as long as you leave, do your best to leave St. Louis behind. Stop acting like you're still one of them and are honest with us from this point forward. You're one of us.
I think the only fair punishment is to have him clean the bilge.
That's fair.
She has a point.
I'll take over pontificating and reading books.
It's a tough job. Is the doctor woman here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Joe, I don't think we can walk away.
No, you're right. But you're also right. We can't turn everything over to House Color. Lee's right. We can't. If we're going to do this, we have to find a way to the overseers and present it to them, and hopefully they will accept that we're being impartial.
We need to be very careful what we say to the overseers, because it could get Lee killed.
I know. But as much as I don't like this place, and as much as I think this place poisoned you, we can't let it fall apart for the sake of the people at home. So, how do we get to the overseer?
Dan, I'd like to make a smarts roll, tap my paraclete. What all do we need to present to the overseers for them to motivate them to lock down St. Louis?
They're probably going to do that on their own.
They're probably going to do that on their own, but if they punish House Kohler, or if they punish House Holloway, or there's a big trial, basically, if we can, they'll still be fighting, right? It might be behind the scenes fighting, it might be more of this political bullshit. If we can prove to the overseers and get the overseers to present it to the houses that there is an outside influence manipulating these events, then what I want to do is convince them to pull together.
You've got a lot of things that don't add up, which, in the current climate, they have no issue finger pointing over.
Right.
Now, you're not sure if any of them know they don't add up.
Yeah.
Like, are they in on it? But what you've seen so far, if we presume everyone's innocent, everyone's just a dupe, okay?
Right.
Which is a huge presumption, but
Sure,
if we
sure.
presume that, they have no problem pointing fingers over the fact that things don't add up, and they see each other as demons in those gaps. What you're probably going to have to do is connect the dots.
Okay.
You're going to need to explain and possibly prove not just that there's gaps here, but this is what goes in the gaps, and it's not Kohler, it's not Holloway, assuming it's not.
Right.
It could turn out to be.
Sure. And we'll assume it isn't, and if it's proven it is, we will put them on the gibbet.
Right. And there are, while it has never happened it hasn't happened recently, way back in St. Louis's history, there is precedent for what to do if one house goes rogue.
Sure.
That has been handled before. But for houses in good standing to simply degrade into civil war, this is a new one.
If there is one house that's behind this, then we want to expose that house and get it cut out like cancer.
Yeah, which
the problem
is
is
precisely what will happen.
right now there's chaos, and even if the overseers come out and they put a stop to the fighting will still continue, and the overseers will still have to take their boot and put it on people's necks and crush them to get all of the chaos to stop fighting. We want everyone to stop fighting each other, figure out who the real enemy is, and everybody fight them together. And we need to prove who that real enemy is.
So, one other thing
We need to do it quickly.
from connecting the dots, one other thing we have to point to the Rat Man being from
Well, we don't know it's right.
the Pale Man
Sure.
to being from space is a medication that needs to be made in
In space.
that nobody here has ever heard of.
Well, is that...
Stroke their egos. You don't have this.
Well, wait a minute. That medication, that container that we found, that was the poison that Sunset took?
That was
Or
the
medicine that the
medicine that-
Pale Man used?
Medicine that
He gave the mother. Okay. All right. So, Dan, I'd like to make a smarts roll, which is not my strong suit, but I would like to invoke Riverboat Captain. I want to try to remember the name of Cyrus Weiss's boat.
Oh, I don't know. It doesn't give it a name. If not, I will have to do so now and then add it to my notes.
Is the doctor lady, what's her name?
Her
Marshall's her last name. I
Yeah,
know.
it was Sonia Marshall.
Is she armed?
No, nothing you see. No big weapons at any rate.
I've been trying to remember it all this time. I wrote her on my crew note card
That's presumption.
because she's part of our crew now.
She was purchased,
No, the trial has occurred, and you guys did it in good faith. She is now part of your crew.
bought and paid for.
Yeah. As of now, she is part of your... She's not part of House Caller anymore. She is now...
Once things settle down, Leah's going to have a conversation with Joe about
I'm kidding.
freedom and releasing her.
No, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I mean, no, of course not. Yeah, I don't want to. I mean,
We'll maybe keep her for a little while.
Right.
We might get hurt.
You and Joe probably will.
Well, yeah. I do have a whole nother ass cheek to get shot.
I don't know what we'll call it.
I got a 15 on my smarts check.
It's a story that gets passed around a lot amongst the people that travel the river. Old tale, goes back to the Native American days. about a dragon-like creature that was said to actually roam this area and was killed by a poison. He named his boat the Piasa.
Piasa.
Spelled Piasa, but pronounced like pie, like with cherry pie. A, or and then saw, like sawwood. So Piasa. It's spelled Piasa.
What's everyone doing right now? Like, what's this current situation? We're in a room in the compound.
Yeah, she pulled us into a room to tell us about the medicine. So we were all in a room in the compound debating.
When someone is talking to her, I grab Philip by the arm and I say,
I can remember.
we go outside and down a little way. And I'm like looking around, make sure that no one is around.
Okay.
Like, I didn't tell you everything. Not because I'm trying to keep this from you. I was trying to spare her.
Okay.
Alright? I got Modamar to tell me the history of Miss Lily's vine, because the question was not how did it get its name, the question was... And he kind of takes a deep breath. They asked where she was buried.
Where she was buried?
You understand why I didn't share this?
Yeah. They would only want that if they want the body. Or something on the body.
I'm never going to speak of this ever again.
Okay.
Even if directly asked. I don't even want to think about this, okay?
Fair. I will talk to Joe about it, because if there's something on that body that someone's after, we know where they're going to go. And they're going to take her up and try to find whatever it is.
He nods and he turns around and he walks away.
Wait a minute. Emily and I have a secret that I haven't told Joe as well.
He's like,
Oh,
Just to get something off of my chest.
that's why I didn't say it.
Just to get something off my chest. I didn't kill the man in the tunnel. Emily slit his throat.
Like all slowly, like, or just like, oh my god, help, and
No, controlled. She killed him. And I didn't think Joe was ready at that point. I was afraid he would kick her off the boat.
ugh. We never had this conversation.
Yep.
And I turn around and I walk back to and I'm trying to think of memory techniques to forget things.
flicker.
No, that's his job. Oh!
Joe? Can I speak to you for a moment?
Sure.
I walk by you. Tag, you're in.
I step you out into the hall for a moment. Lee doesn't want to bring this up again because it was a difficult conversation. There was something he didn't tell us earlier. And
I'll look over my shoulder back at the room.
wait, no, he had a good reason for not doing it. They didn't ask him to tell how Miss Lily died. They asked him where her body was, where she was buried. He didn't want to tell her sister something that gruesome. That means somebody is going out to dig her up.
For the life of me, I can't remember. Sorry, I'm whispering, but I can't remember burying her with anything other than the clothes she had on her.
Yeah, I mean, I took her flute, but I don't know of anything she would have on her.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, well, I even thought that it would be nice at some point when Dr. Marshall, stopped being such a bitch that we'd take her to the grave. I mean, I know right where it's at.
Yeah, of course you do. We're not going to forget that. Somebody's going after her body. whether it has something or not.
All right. Here's what I suggest. Well, wait.
They're going to get there while we're here.
Right. When did they ask? And how long ago?
He said he got Motomar to tell him that.
When?
Did he?
How long ago? Like weeks?
Yes, Motomar.
I don't know.
All right. I'll yell for Motomar.
All right, I'm talking to Dr. Marshall. I want the morphine.
Please just sit there.
My head hurts.
I know your head hurts, which is while I was up there, they've not been perfectly ground for you, but here, they have a heavy black frame, so hopefully you won't break them too easily. She puts a pair of glasses on your head. This should make things near you a little easier to see.
So I put them on and I look at her and I go, hi. Then I smooth my hair.
Yeah, Dr. Marshall left, and I'm going to be accompanying you in her place.
Okay. Joe wants me.
Okay.
I do.
Chess?
Do you keep your clothes on?
More than I'd like.
It's the door open because you just asked for it,
Yeah.
so we kind of hear that. I yell in, that depends if he wins or loses.
I'll close the door as Motomar comes out. Motomar?
My eyes were really magnified, so...
Whoa. When did you get glasses?
He's got what was the character in Office Space?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Stephen Root's character? Yeah. So Motomar will kill you with a stapler. When... You need glasses?
Yeah, Dr. Marshall said I did.
Okay. And
But you see things far away so well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's so I can play games. My games glasses.
Well, this is neither a game nor business.
Okay.
When
The appropriate state of pants. This is new territory.
when did you tell Lee about Miss Lily's grave?
Oh, when he asked.
See, I never should have revealed anything.
How
Fully covered.
how long ago was that? Days, weeks?
I remember it was relatively early in the journey.
Yeah, it was when you went to the whorehouse, so it was in town.
So it was in Washington.
It was in
Yeah.
either. I think it was Washington.
Second-
It was Washington.
The whorehouse was in Washington.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I remember I spent most of my time alone, thank God.
Yeah, it was in Washington.
It was right before the cat house.
And Dan, in game time, how long ago is that?
By this point, you spent the night in Washington. You spent the night in Defiance. You then reached St. Louis. Spent the night there. Then
Probably a
tonight's-
day of travel for you.
Yeah, so I think you're talking about 4 or 5 days ago.
All right.
First cat house.
Thank you, Motomar. All right. So
I go in. I look for real quick.
I'm setting up a chessboard.
I kind of lean in. Quick question.
Yes.
When did you pass information along that you got from Motomar?
When did I? It would be in the second. It would be in the second town. So Defiance. When I passed it on to the bartender who gave me the bag.
Broader FYI,
So
because I'll give you this on a riverboat captain. If you were to take
day or two ago.
by land,
right.
information from Washington
So not
to where
somebody
she's
who
buried
says-
in Cliff Cave Park. If you were to run the horse pretty hard, you could possibly make that journey in a single day, maybe 2.
Okay.
And that would be within the same side of the river. You'd never even have to cross water.
That was from Washington, though, you said?
Yes.
So I come back. He gave the information in defiance
Okay.
to a bartender.
So,
And you remember the bartender because that was where he got the leather bag.
all right. So then, just if we can pause the in character and take a step back from the table for a moment, the out of character. I don't want to screw things up by splitting the party, but we only have 2 horses and 2 saddles.
You're wanting to get to the...
What I'm suggesting is that 2 of us take the horses and go to the grave and try to beat whoever is interested in the grave to the graves.
Okay.
So send Motomar to literally beat the person at the grave.
Well, and now we could also double up. I assume the horses can.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Is these horses, they're built for labor, not for speed.
Right.
The upside of that is they can easily carry 2 of you.
Right. So if we put just logistically, if we put Joe and Lee on one horse and Philip and Motomar on the other horse, we could get there pretty quick.
I get the front.
Yes. And yes, the answer is yes. And for the sake of not splitting the party, quite frankly, if these were genetically engineered hamsters, I'd make them capable of bearing 2 of you.
All right. So then as they're having their conversation, Joe's going to come back into the room and he's going to go into captain mode.
Okay.
Right. Casey, you have command of the ship.
You want me to go to the ship?
No. Make sure Emily doesn't do anything crazy. Doctor, you're going to stay here. Motomar, Lee, Philip, pack your things. We're going to go get the horses. Meet me outside in the hallway in 5 minutes. And I'm going to start gathering my stuff.
All right. I grab my stuff, and I pull out the book of the GC line.
Okay.
And based on the way he's describing things, I'm already looking for useful commands that I can...
Mate.
Oh, that one I got... I'm waiting for the moment for that one.
If he uses mate on me, I require him to know A, the command word, or B, the correct horse name.
So just
I've got the horse names written down.
Do you have the command words?
I do.
You 2 are not allowed to share out of character.
We don't know the command word for mate unless it actually is mate. But I can look that up in the book.
There's the other part because you have to use the horse name and then you have to use the code name. And
Chief is Leonid and Lee is Perseid.
Perseid.
So yes, I do know.
Okay. So you guys go outside and saddle up the horses. It takes no work at all to get them get the saddle on there, get the bit and bridle on them.
Okay. Who is riding front on each horse?
Lee already called front.
Okay. I'll take front on the other.
And he ate a lot of chili in your back.
I give you the which horse are you jumping up on?
Wait a minute. First of all, I'm in the saddle. I don't care which horse I'm on, but I'm on the saddle.
Lee's skinny, he can fit.
The horn, you're gonna sit on it.
It might be
That's what they call it, right? The horn of the saddle?
The saddle horn?
Yeah.
It might be an English saddle.
That
you don't
way-
know.
That's his punishment.
Yeah, well, no, that's
Well, the saddle horn
Bounce,
is the
bounce.
Oh, right on that gunshot bruise. Too. Ooh, this is gonna be a fun trip for you. You got a bruised ass, and you're gonna
that's
be
brutal.
Well, I'm just going to
unless you know how to post.
I'm going to bitch and whine the entire way right into Joe's ear.
Okay.
Constant. I mean, it's going to be like the cicadas in summer. It's just going to be... Joe, my ass hurts.
So I look up a couple of quick commands of calm,
Okay.
stop.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think of what would be basic commands that we might need. Calm is in case anything goes nuts and we just need to
Attack.
Well,
stay.
wait, I'll give it to you. You know their commands.
Yeah.
I've got the
Okay.
exact list here. You know their commands.
Okay.
So
Basically, I share a few potentially useful ones with whoever's on the other horse.
okay.
All right. Yeah, I mean, and I think they're just
I make sure to tell you, Edward Lee backs up, mate.
no.
All right. So you guys hop the horses and you take off at a gallop
No, it's fantastic.
south across the city, following the river down because that's what gets you there. I mean, obviously not on the river, but along the river. So you take it from the St. Louis landing.
No, we take Telegraph and what's left of it to
Yeah, you
Cliff Cave
basically
Park.
take 55 south to about, Revis-ish, and would hop, and then get down to Cliff Cave Park, which, if I'm doing this right, by the land, is about 10, 15 miles. So, your horses can cover that pretty freaking quickly. You guys will get there.
There's a grocery store right there. We can stop for beers.
Yeah, that's totally still there.
Uh-huh.
And it's actually also not that far from Coke Hospital. So we can stop there and you guys can see how long.
Pass.
So, all right, you guys get to, it's nighttime. All right, so, and of course now you guys are riding away from the city. You pass through the suburbs and you're now in what used to be suburb, and nature's kind of going the opposite direction. Nature's reclaiming a lot of it. It's lightly wooded. Some of it's being used as farmland. So even though this was once suburbs, it has more of a rural feel to it as you guys get farther from.
The floodplains along the Mississippi River where Cliff Cave Park sprawls into is definitely being used as farmland.
Oh, yeah,
because
of the sediment. Yeah.
The sediment floods in because it's being used for that now.
Yeah.
So, Lee, who did you tell about the grave? Who did you give that information to?
The bartender in Defiance. The leather
When you
bag.
got the nice bag, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Do you have any idea who the bartender was going to give that information to?
No.
Okay.
And the bag had the cure for Sunset Smog in it.
All right, when you guys arrive, you are getting close to the gravesite. Do any of you have a light source?
No. What time of month is it?
It's mid-October.
I remember a flashlight being
What
dropped
phase is
at
the
some
moon?
point, but I don't think we picked it up.
Fair question.
Yeah.
Or is it cloudy?
I don't know, but I'm going to use my phone for gaming.
Lies.
Your werewolf phase dice.
Yeah,
Because I definitely don't have one.
you know what? Let's go with some are only D6. 1 is new, 6 is full.
4.
4, so it is...
Pretty foolish.
Yeah, it's approaching, what is that, gibbous waxing?
Is it cloudy or not cloudy?
Not cloudy.
All right.
All right, so there's a little bit of light.
And because there's no light pollution anymore, except the kind of glow from St. Louis, it's nowhere near what
No,
it is
it's
now.
nowhere near what it is today.
It's actually not bad out.
Okay.
Can I throw this somewhere?
Yeah,
You want me to do it upstairs? here?
yeah. Throw
How about
it.
this?
There you go.
There
Yeah,
you
not
go.
that cup. Okay.
And then we're done.
So
We'll pitch it later.
everyone, give me a perception check. Motomar, you may use your tracker skill.
Okay.
Does he get a +1 for glasses?
No,
I was going to say, can I do
and you can use your
reasonably riverboat captain?
no, because that's
Okay.
not what you're looking at. I'll let you use the eyesight thing.
I
There.
rolled poopy 12.
12, 13,
18.
Average.
18.
10.
Okay. At 18, Motomar, they're a little off course. You're able to course correct and get to the exact spot of the grave.
Okay.
All right. When you get to the grave, here's what you find. The grave has been dug up.
Okay.
Unquestionably by tools. This is not the work of wild animals. The grave has been dug up. The corpse, having been buried 5 years ago, long rotted. She was buried with the possessions that she has on her, or had on her. And there is a backpack that has been pulled free from her body and is laying dumped out next to the grave. And you can see clothing, little pouches that are now empty, probably once upon a time had like some snacks or trail mix or something in them. It was years ago. The Wayne, give me an int check, a smarts check. Let's see, you ought to remember this.
I remember she had a notebook.
She didn't have a notebook.
Well, I remember she had notebooks. So 9 plus 7, 16.
Okay. As you look at her possessions, you remember that she had 2 notebooks. There was a burgundy-colored one that she used to write down what she would see in each town, similar to the one that you had, or have.
Yeah, because I remember the conversation
Right.
with her about it.
But she told you she also had another one.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that one?
Oh.
Because that one is gone.
I, as a player, don't remember it.
The one that's there is muddied, it's decayed. You're actually mostly able to identify its contents not by the color of the cover, which has been so terribly discolored, but by opening it up and, you know, what crinkly, nasty pages there are, just to get a sense of, okay, these are place names or whatever. But she then also always carried with her, this is part of her thing when she would play the flute, she carried a dark blue one that she would use at night when she had nothing else to do and would busy herself by recording what she saw
In the sky.
in the sky. That one is missing.
I look around it. I know what's missing. Miss Lily, one of the last nights was when we stopped. Was talking to her about notebooks. And, you know, she asked me what I put in my notebooks, and I told her, and I point to the one that's down there, she does the same. She kept 2 notebooks. One that she writes about the cities. The other, every night when she played, she'd look up in the sky and write what she saw in the sky in that notebook. That notebook's gone.
Like a star chart?
Motorwork, give me a perception check, and you may use tracker.
She said specifically what she saw in the sky. I assume she meant stars.
16. As you're looking at the ground looks like it's soft enough here, it's kind of mushy enough here, that you are able to pick out footprints. Mm-hmm. The footprints appear relatively fresh, not like last few minutes, but these weren't made weeks ago either.
Okay.
This is where it's going to get funny. Okay, so I'll assume you kind of visually follow them, see where they go.
Mm-hmm.
Give me the exact same skill check. So your 3 dice, but this time add smarts to it.
Okay.
Goodness.
15.
15. You follow it along. There's a copse of trees that it heads toward. And this would be a good place to ditch your trail because obviously the ground gets a little bit harder around the trees just because of the near surface roots and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But as you're looking at the tree, you also it occurs to you that if you were to watch for people coming or to set an ambush with a view of this grave, that's probably where you do it.
All right.
Oh. Wayne's like me. He has better notes than he has organizational skills. I
actually have it right here.
The amount of information I have here.
Stars.
Yeah.
So,
All right. What I'll do is I'll give out a shrill whistle to denote trouble.
Okay. As soon as you make that noise, there is a from that direction, you hear, and then you hear, do you know what rebel yell is?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I can't do it because it'll hurt my throat. Does anyone here not know what a rebel? If anyone's listening doesn't know what a rebel yells, it's a high pitched. It's kind of like a howling, whooping sort of noise. I can't do it because it'll hurt my throat. But you get a sound like that's what you hear. So you hear like the whistle back from the direction of the tree, and then off to your left, further inland away from the river, you hear a couple of those, not screamed, made loud enough to be heard. You remember these noises? This was a form of communication amongst the Ists that you were with.
Okay.
It's actually code.
All right. Can I determine what the code is, or
give me tracker plus intelligence.
tracking plus? I'll spend the bullet.
Okay. You can add a die or reroll the dice.
I can reroll one of the die that I roll.
No, you can either reroll all three,
Okay.
or you can keep that result. So pick the best two dice,
Right. And add a dice.
and then roll a third one and add the third one to those two.
You would have been better re-roll it all three,
Probably.
I think.
7 plus smart, you said?
Yeah,
So 11?
you're not sure.
Okay.
You remember it. It's like you. It's kind of like you remember the structure, you remember the sounds, but you don't know what it is they're communicating.
Okay. And is there someone in that tree that...
Yes, you definitely heard a whistle from that direction.
Okay. I'll immediately jump and start crawling up the opposite side from...
You'll have to cross the ground to get there first.
I'll run it.
Okay, you're running the ground to get there. All right. Quick actions then.
Looks at Joe
I
and
just
goes,
need to
"What?"
set the scene. Motomar takes off running. Lee, immediate reaction.
I look at Joe and go, what?
Joe,
We've heard him whistle, right?
you heard the whistle response, and then he took off running. You hear yells to your left.
I'm going to draw my pistol and look for cover.
Okay.
Um, Lillian, Percy, I follow. And then
Okay.
I go into a bush for cover.
Okay, so you're diving for cover.
I'm trying to get the horses out of the
Okay,
open too.
so Brodor, Chad, Eric, Wayne. I guess I should probably go by character names. So,
Joe.
Joe, Lee. For people at home, trying to remember both real names and character names is going to
We
be a
have
bitch.
these table tents
Yeah,
here.
that are so useful to people listening on mic.
That reminds me, I actually
Philip.
need a piece of information off mine that I don't have written down. I have
You
it
have it
right
written
here.
down somewhere.
Okay,
I do, it's right here.
everyone, give me 2d6 plus your speed.
Oh,
Oh, nice.
I'm going to spend a bullet
Okay.
because I'm
Reroll?
concerned. Yeah.
I got 9.
Okay. Lee got a 9. Phil got a 9. Motomar
12.
12.
11 for Joe.
11 for Joe. You know what? I'm just gonna have.
Save myself time, I'll take a picture of the characters. Because I did start filling out your thread on the forums.
Oh, yeah,
What is that thread? What is it called?
It's
Call your
Fear the Boot
mom.
APs. And then you go in that, and then there's 2 APs in there. One is the Ironblood Dwarf, and one is like the Tales of Miss Lily's Vine or something.
Okay.
That's ours.
All right.
And then in that thread, each character has their own post stickied where
Gotcha.
people can talk about them.
Okay.
Post about them.
Motomar, as you take off running, where you heard the yells from, you hear somebody like, yeah, and you can now hear hoof beats coming from that direction.
Okay.
Okay. And there are a few more. It's a repeating noise. It's that whooping noise, but it's the same noise repeated 3 times in a row, almost frantically. Once again, you can't recall what this means, but
Okay.
it's almost frantic. Motomar, it is your turn. Okay, you reach the tree.
Okay.
You cross the ground, reach the tree. What are you doing from the tree?
From the best vantage point, I'll go on the opposite side of the tree from where I assume this person is,
Okay.
and then I'll start just rapidly climbing up the tree.
Okay. Go ahead and give me. Let's do agility, plus, and you can use your scouting thing,
Okay.
so 3d6, pick the best two
7,
on agility.
15.
Okay, more than easily climb up it. You are looking at the back of the boots of someone else who is up the tree, who doesn't appear to have anything in terms of like, he doesn't have like binoculars or anything. Not sure he needed at this distance.
Okay.
But he is holding in his right hand what looks like a rifle that's been sawed off to make it a carbine. And when you come up the tree, he's turning it backwards toward you.
Remember, you got sword.
Right.
Okay, we'll come back to that in a minute. Joe, you were next.
So if I found cover and we are not taking fire,
Not at the moment.
if we are currently, all right, so if we're not currently taking fire, can I see the direction? Correction. I'm assuming because of the lighting, I cannot see where Motomar went.
No, you would have because you saw him depart. I mean, so if you look that direction, yeah, and your eyes pass one of adjusted to the dark. And there's also a fair amount of noise from him climbing a tree.
Right. In that case, if I can see that relatively clearly and we're not taking fire, I'm gonna run for it. I'm gonna run toward Monomar, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, pistol in hand.
No problem. Okay. Now, okay. As you are doing that, a trio of horses with riders come breaking just out of the darkness. You're not sure where they were hiding, if anywhere, maybe just holding very still. But they come breaking out of the darkness. Each of the three of them, or sorry, two of the three of them cradling guns. And they are yelling, you know what's good for you, stand down, drop the steel, boys, drop it. And they've not yet done anything violent, but they're running at you yelling this. Done Motomar, now go to the bottom of the round. Lee and Philip.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, you go ahead.
I'm just going to stand there.
Okay.
Actually, I'm at the gravesite. You said that there were 2 notebooks. One notebook's missing, but there is another notebook there.
Yes. It's not in good shape, but it is there.
While they're all running...
It's in woods porn shape. But...
Sure. Well, while they're all running, and they're like... the horses are coming in, Lee bends over, and he, takes a piece of cloth, like a handkerchief or something.
Okay.
And he takes the notebook, and he very, very carefully takes that notebook and then wraps it up in the cloth and puts it in his satchel.
Okay. So you are
Always working.
Phil?
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chad, actually give me a 2d6 plus agility check. I want to see if something happens by accident that may actually help you.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah, okay, so you're on kind of loose ground.
Mm-hmm.
As you're wrapping it up, you fall into her grave.
Yeah.
All right. So as I jumped into the bushes, do I get any sense that they see me where I'm at now?
You're not sure. They're kind of fanning out around the GCs. You say you jumped to the bushes.
Yep. I had the GCs follow me, so...
So, yeah, they see you.
Okay. I don't want to risk them. You know what? No. Are they still on their horses?
Yeah.
Iliad, Perseid, charge.
Okay. We're going to have to deal them in. So,
Well played.
Until they get shot.
Iliad.
That's what I'm afraid of.
Wow.
Me in character would do this. Me out of character,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Well, a bunch of guys on horses show up, waving guns around, pointing them at you, and telling you to stand down. What would you do out of character in Cliff Cave Park?
Out of character, I
As
would
you, as
stand
Wayne
down.
Cole.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to do shit.
Exactly.
Okay. As soon as you...
I'm not going to do shit.
As soon as you, Wayne actually charges not a command, I need to know which one of the following are you giving them:
Okay.
go or attack.
Or
Attack.
mate.
Okay. Or mate.
they're on horses.
Yes, mate. they're just humping the horses.
Yeah,
I mean,
didn't
how
realize
hard is
attack-
it to fight on a horse that's getting humped?
Yeah, out of character, if I knew attack was a command, that's what I would have given to me.
Okay.
So,
Uh,
attack.
The 2 horses take off. Chief, which is aka Leonid, runs towards the one of the riders that's off to your right. And with a swift kick, basically runs kind of up past it, then gives a kick as the horse runs past. This is going to be a painful injury to somebody. Well, first of all, okay, seeing whether it went to horse or rider. You hear several, when it impacts, you hear these painful cracking noises. Its horse lets out this noise you have never heard a horse make, and it falls to the ground and skids to the side, throwing its rider in the process. You can actually see, even in the dark, physical indentations. You think it actually kicked in its
Wow.
ribs. Perseid, also known as Lee, named by Emily, I think, memory serves, charges one of the other horses, also hits.
Of course he does.
Horse or rider, horse. And, I'll give it a rotation. Manages to clip the front right leg of the horse. It buckles under it, goes down on its neck, and throws its rider forward and launches off. That horse is now down with its leg broken.
All right, what is the third guy's reaction to this?
Well,
Or he hasn't had a chance to
yeah, he
react
hasn't
yet.
had a chance to react. You literally just did this.
Because then I personally want to run with the cutlass at the guy that hasn't done anything. Basically, run behind the horses they hit, and I want to go for that guy.
Yo ho.
I'll give it to you. Okay, this is the guy who does not have a gun, so you're going to be in.
Good.
You're going to be in competitive.
Does he have a sword? Or
No,
some sort of melee?
he actually has.
He should.
He doesn't have a melee weapon. It's not a sword.
Oh, okay.
It's not a sword. He actually is carrying the long spear pipe.
Ooh,
sort
Let me
of
get the
pipe.
bullets ready because I'm going to need them.
Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, Wayne, is because the two of you are attempting to, basically, it's a competitive roll. Okay,
Right.
so he's going to roll his attack roll, and you're going to roll your attack roll. Whoever rolls better gets to actually do the damage.
Okay.
Unless both of you screw up so badly, neither of you hit.
No, I'm sure if anyone's going to screw up, it's going to be me.
Probably
Is this, what do we add to it? Agility?
agility.
Or, 3, 4, 5.
He has a
so
14.
9. That.
Okay, you can add a d6, reroll the whole thing. You can make me reroll my dice. How's the bullet working?
So I rolled a 3 and a 2. Do I want to add something to it? So right now I'm at...
It's a 9 to a 14. You need at least a 5 to tie him, which will be a push. Nothing happens. You need a 6 to beat him.
Okay. Are you able to use 2 bullets to add 2 dice?
Yeah, all out.
All right. So we'll do the one that I already did to add. It's going to add a 1. And that one to add a 4.
So you push him. Okay.
So I push.
So you push. All right. So you come running up towards the horse. He has a pike, and he's trying to make a charge on you, having seen what happened to the other 2 riders. He's making a charge on you. You with the sword up, raised, ready to slash, is fairly obvious. And as you come in, he's trying to drive the spike, or the pike, rather, towards your, like, clavicle, trying to come down on you. And it ends up getting tangled up in your sword, and a few sparks fly as the metal tip of the pike hits the sword, but nothing of significance happens other than he does end up riding past you and is now circling to come back. Okay, back to the top of the order. The guy that was thrown from the horse that had its ribs kicked in, What kind of shape is he in? No, actually doing all right.
That's not good. He's got a gun.
Okay.
Don't you have a gun?
What's that?
Don't you have a gun?
You ever seen Philip shoot?
No. I think that's the problem.
Well,
My struggle skill is guns, and
my incompetence is combat in general. The umbrella of combat.
the gun I have is a dead man's gun.
Ew.
All right, so here we go. He's going to have some rough. It's going to be a bit rough here. Okay, so
Emily had the real gun.
base of 6. You're within his optimal range. You have no particular cover. However, there is, because of the darkness, impeded visibility. So I'll give you a 12 for that. You're running, so that's going to be a +3. That's up to 15. So he's going to need a 15. I'm going to make it a 16 for minor injuries taken from that fall. His target number is a 16, so he's going to be adding 6 to this roll. He needs at least a 10 to hit you. Misses. Okay, so he takes a rifle, and you hear a loud crack, and you can hear bullet whiz through the air. It does not hit you.
Okay.
All right, so... Oops, wrong guy. Okay, so now we go to Motamar.
Okay, so the guy in the tree kind of backhanded pointed his
He's
weapon.
pointing your weapon. He looks more confused than...
Okay. All right. Well, I have my cutlass, so I'll swipe at his weapon arm.
Okay. Base of 6. He's within optimal range. No problems there. He is somewhat obscured by cover. Visibility is a little bit reduced. You need a 12.
Okay. So 13, 14.
Okay, so you got it?
and the cutlass is 3d6.
Okay.
A 6 out of 1.
Give me this, but I'm going to reroll certain locations
Here,
because
actually, keep it down.
they're out of reach. So we're going to reroll certain locations.
Left leg.
Yeah,
sense.
that's totally possible. You guys are in a struggle. So, okay, left leg.
So it's 3d6 plus body.
No, just 3d6.
Just 3d6. So 12 damage.
Okay. You take the...
And that's how they called me Stumpy, kids.
That's not too far from the truth. You take that cutlass. You see him coming back with a gun. You're running on adrenaline. You know that your life is in danger.
You have a little bit of a semi.
Well, on top of that, I will give you a little bit of a kind of a jumping the hill sort of move here, because you're climbing up the tree, so maybe you climb up a little bit too high, and as you're coming back down, you got some force behind you. You bring that cutlass down, and you miss the arm you're swinging for, deflects off of his gun a little bit, and instead you strike the left leg. You could feel it cleave straight through the musculature of the thigh, and actually get wedged partway, maybe even a good way, into his femur.
Okay. I'll let my cutlass go and let him fall.
Well, it's a good thing that there's modern medicine. Oh. That's not good.
All right, he's going to get a check to see if he is hanging by his left arm, screaming. Does not fall from the tree yet. He's in bad freaking shape, but does not fall from the tree yet.
Okay.
And however, Joe, you get to the tree. You see this guy, carbine in his right hand, holding the tree, cutlass buried in his leg. Not a genius, or it doesn't take a genius to know what he's probably going to do next with that carbine. What do you care to do?
Right. Well, if I have a clear shot that's not going to hit Motomar, I'm going to clip him.
Okay. You have not moved. He's now exposed. All he needs is 9. So
And that is agility. Is that
that's
correct?
agility. Yeah, unless you have any penalties or bonuses to combat.
No, unfortunately, I don't. It's a wash, right? I don't have either.
Okay.
That is a 16, sir.
Okay. So you're shooting him with.
My Saturday night special.
So okay, you are. I said you need a 9. You roll 16.
Yeah.
You're over a margin of 6, you get an extra die of damage.
So that's 3d6.
3d6, yes.
It's only 8.
Give me a location.
You know what? Can you bullet damage?
Yes, you can.
Well, I'll just bullet that damage. I'm just gonna reroll 2 of these dice.
No. Oh, you add a die.
Oh, do you add a die? I thought it was reroll or add.
Reroll all or add.
Reroll all or
Well,
add?
it's your choice. Yes, you.
I got you. I don't want to.
Would you want to reroll the 8, or do you want to?
8's pretty good.
Is it?
It is below average.
I'll add. Oh, 9. Oh, boo, 9. Head.
Nice.
Suck it.
You're not. He drops to the ground. You're not sure if he's dead, but you just shot him through the head.
I'm gonna.
If he's not dead, he is unquestionably, without highly skilled emergency medical aid, he will die in short order.
All right, then I'm going to spin around in my most commanding captain voice and say, "No, you stand down."
With cool, dry wit like that, you can be an action hero.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. That takes us to who's left. Okay. So he's.
I mean, look at it from their perspective. Our horses just fucked up 2 of their horses. One of their guys is dead, and a couple of them are hurt from the falls they took off their horse. I'm feeling pretty good about that.
All right, Wayne. On his action, the spear guy is making another run on you. You're going to make another competitive check with him. So roll 2d6. Add your heal. Wow, he's probably going to get this one.
13.
He did get you. All right. So
Can I spend a bullet for him to reroll? For the enemy to reroll?
If you want to force a reroll. Okay, so Wayne, what did you get?
I'm at 13.
Wayne, you get the attack.
All right.
All right, so Wayne,
3d6 for the
you
cutlass.
you just go straight to damage because of competitive roll. So you just go straight.
So 5, 4, 9.
So 9 to his
Right arm.
Okay. The pike is on the ground, and his you swing the cutlass. You do pretty much a similar number to his right arm as what Motomar did to the other guy's leg. That cutlass hits and hits hard. He drops the pike to the ground and screams and is grabbing at his arm. And by the way it's hanging, it's definitely at the very least not in socket currently.
I thought those were a stupid idea.
Okay. Last dude on their team.
I wish I could say I said something cool, but no, I just pure don't kill me.
Hold on. See this guy hit. All right. Base of 6. You're within optimal range. You have no cover. Poor light. It's going to take him a very poor light. It's going to take him to 12.
Unless all the horses can provide any cover, because they're around.
Well, two of them are hurt, right?
Yeah.
2 of the horses.
Yeah, but we have RGCs are still there.
This,
true.
Doing something.
This one did hit. Okay, it's going to hit the chest. It's not over. Ooh. Okay, Wayne. Do you or does anyone have a bullet that they want to spend?
I am out of bullets.
I will absolutely. Just for the scene, who's getting shot? Wayne? I'm sorry, Philip.
Yes, Philip is getting shot.
I absolutely will contribute a bullet.
Wayne, do you have any armor on your chest?
The only armor I have is my leather duster.
That will help substantially. What is the leather duster's armor reduction?
It's only -1.
Well, that's even without his bullet, that would at least save you from death. So, this instead gets bought off with one of the dice. Okay, so Wayne, you take you have a level 1 torso wound. You have a bruise to the. He basically skimmed you with the bullet,
Right.
which is good because the prior rolls he shot you through the heart.
That's how brutal combat can be. I mean, you can insta-death with one bad shot.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I love that in a game.
So he, instead, because Brodor saved you, took it down to a 2. Your leather duster took 1 of that, so basically you have a graze to your side. You'll probably want to clean it, but so we don't have infection. But yeah, you're fine. It just hurts. Okay, takes us back to the top. This guy's out. This guy. Oh yeah, Lee.
Crawl out of the grave.
Lee and Phil. All right, Lee, you're in the grave.
Yeah, I crawl out of the grave.
Okay, you're out of the grave.
Excellent.
What did the GCs do this round?
Oh, right, I'd forgotten about the GCs. You've told them to...
Lee gets back in the grave. Sorry, horses. Your turn, obviously.
Let's face it, the horses are going to do more than either of us.
Oh, hell yeah.
You've had a remarkable showing. I wouldn't sell yourself short.
Okay. I'm sure this is going to be incredibly brutal, so let's just get to the part that matters. That one actually may not. Okay. So the 2 guys that are left both have guns, they have carbines. And the horses turn, seeing them still moving, and guy number 1, who was the one that missed you, so he was the one that shot first and missed you, Chief/Leonid runs up to him. You hear it rears up, comes down with the front hooves, and begins just jumping and stomping like in a marching motion with the hooves. You hear a very brief moment of a human scream, followed by a crunching noise and silence. The other horse, Lee/Perseid, makes a similar charging run and attempts to make a passing kick at the remaining guy with the gun, hits him in the chest. You hear the crack of ribs. He goes flying, lands on his back, and has let go of the gun, has one hand grasping his chest, with the other hand is just kind of grasping at the air and is making these rattling, wheezing noises.
Okay, so then after that, what we see, the one guy is still on his horse that I had sliced.
Right.
Yes.
The one guy's dead, is my assumption.
Yes.
The other one is still alive and gasping. Does his chest look like it's caved in, or is he just...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you think his sternum's at the very least shattered.
So I would guess he's about to die.
He's not probably going to live all that long. Not without serious help, which you probably don't have the skill to render.
I point my sword at the one that's still up on the horse.
Okay.
And I look up at him. Stand down, get off your horse, or I order mine to mate.
And not with the horse.
Wayne?
Not with the horse.
Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, given his injuries and what the horses have done, and the possibility of some inhuman, or not just inhuman, but some unnaturally sized horse having its way with you would be you've succeeded, right? I want you, however, to roll some kind of social check here. If you have a relevant skill, feel free to use it.
I don't think I have anything relevant to that, but social.
How horrified. We're talking degrees of success.
Okay. So 13.
Okay. So checking his options and looking at the horse, he gets off of his. He's kind of hiding behind it, but he's off of it and has stood down.
Okay.
Motomaro, is it my turn?
We can go and drop the initiative order unless you guys are going to keep shooting or something.
I'll drop out of the tree and I'll just walk over to the guy sucking out his last breath, and I'll make that rebel yell noise right in his face.
I give the horses the command to stand down.
Okay. The horses, they just stop. I mean, the minute you give it, the one that was doing this little prancy mashed potato thing, just stops instantly. And they, as does the other one who did the kick, but he was in a full gallop, and they both just stop dead right where they are
So,
and
Joe,
just sit there.
The
Joe,
third
I've
horse
got
is
some-
fine, right?
Yes, there's a third riding horse that one of them had that has not been smashed.
I go up to a horse and I say, "Hey, free horse," and I take it.
Joe, I've got one for you to question.
But there's another guy alive, yes?
for the moment.
Right.
Yeah, I've got that guy told him to stand down.
Okay, so everyone else is down. Is that right? Am I understanding the situation
Okay, yes,
correctly?
the two people are. So here's what happened. One guy got mashed potatoed by a horse.
Right, got it?
He's dead. One guy got shot through the head with such sufficient injury.
I was there.
He's unconscious. He's hemorrhaging in the brain.
Right.
Without massive medical intervention, he's not going to survive. He's probably not in any shape.
Right. Spear guy is off his horse.
Spear guy is off his horse. He has a very, very severe wound to his right arm. Without medical attention, will likely bleed out, but he's got time. He's not going to die in the next 20 seconds.
All right.
All right. The remaining guy is the one who had his chest kicked.
Okay.
And he's also, once again, really bad shape, needs medical help. You don't know if he'll be able to talk.
And Motomar screaming in his face.
Right.
But yeah, so that's why Joe, I've got one here for you to question.
All right. Take a deep breath. Motomar, put that man out of his misery because I need you to save this one's life.
All right. As I'm staring in his eyes, I'll just cover his mouth and just stick my knife up under his chin.
The one that was
Yeah, the one the
chest caved
chest
in.
caved in.
Okay. He kind of convulses for a second and then stops.
The guy at my feet who's bleeding from his, practically severed leg and head, I'm going to pick up his carbine.
Okay.
And then I'm just going to, hold it in my left hand and then walk over and meet Motomar over where Philip has the captive.
Okay.
So this is an ist.
Oh, yes.
Okay. I say, are you sure?
We need him alive if we're going to talk to him.
Okay.
I know this is good eats.
So have you crawled out of the grave?
Yeah, I have been.
I've
out
got
of the grave.
my
I actually took the
reliability is
horse.
in treating traumatic injuries, so
Okay. Give me...
Yeah, I've seen you do it before. I've seen you heal people before.
All right.
Provide first aid. I mean,
Okay, so for first aid, this is a combat-related injury, so I'll let you use your scout thing.
okay.
So, and it's going to be plus smarts.
Right here.
All right, so it's going to take a hell of a roll, but
Right.
Well, and you said this was one of your skills?
One of
too?
my reliability.
yeah, you don't have a medical kit or anything like that.
No,
I don't
no.
think
I'll
so.
just if it's bleeding,
Okay.
I'll take off his belt and
All right, give me a
Cinch it
3d6 plus smarts roll. We're just going to see if you can just stop the wound from getting worse.
I think you stopped it.
14, 18.
18. Okay.
Difficult.
Yes, that is pretty much all you have done is slow the damage. Because it's a freaking bad wound. He's going to need real attention if he's going to survive in the long run.
Right.
But you've at least slowed the bleeding. But while you're down there doing that, he's gritting his teeth in horrible pain and occasionally cursing and just making all these noises.
Okay.
But while you're working on him with a trembling left hand, he reaches out and he takes hold of the pendant around your neck, looks at it, and looks up at you. He goes, Motomar? Why ain't you home, son? Why are you out with these idiots?
Okay. I'll stick my knife in his throat.
You kill him?
Yeah.
Okay.
I say, and I look at Joe and I go, he didn't make it.
He falls over dead. Let me tell you what the show topic is in this that I've been wanting to discuss for some time. In a role-playing game, there's a difference between killing and murder.
Yeah.
And you know it when the table goes quiet. There's a difference between somebody getting killed in combat and a murder.
all right. Search these bodies. Let's see if we can find the other. Let's see if we can find the other notebook and anything of use or value.
Lee pipes up. Find their shovels.
They don't have. I mean, do the horses have saddlebags or kits in any fashion?
It said that the grave was dug up with tools.
Yes,
They have collapsible spades or something like that.
that is correct, but those tools are not here. You search through the saddles and you do find things like blankets. You find a couple of valuables and such they probably grabbed from elsewhere.
Well, guns and hand weapons is really what I'm most interested
you do
in.
find things like hatchets. Of course, the carbines you've picked up. The spear is still on the ground. We'll go through that in a moment. As you look through the bodies, though, you also find 2 of the coins. You do not, however, find any tools, and you do not find the notebook.
So I'm going to hold these 2 coins in my hands and show them to Lee and say, so these men were paid to ambush anybody who came looking at this grave.
Probably.
Did anyone see any others?
No.
And I'm kind of holding my side as I walk around.
There's a little bit. Well, you got a coat on; it wouldn't be visible. Well, no, you were shot there, so yes, it would be visible.
Yep.
There's a little bit of blood staining your clothing.
All right. As soon as those men are searched, I'm going to gather up Miss Lily's remains, and I'm going to put them back in the ground, and I'm going to use my hands if I have to, and
Rebury
start shoveling dirt back in.
I help him.
Okay. You guys rebury her. What if you guys?
Were there any other supplies on the saddles of the other horses?
Yeah, it looked all though very much like incidental, just crap you'd pick up in the wild or want in the wild.
Okay.
Steaks, rope.
Don't eat the beef jerky.
Yeah, food that you may or may not know where it came from. Water skins, bottles of liquor.
Nothing at all out of the ordinary for Band of S.
Nope. If any of you, there are the 3 carbines and then the one spear. You also find a pair of knives and a pair of hatchets. If anyone wants any of this stuff, just tell me and it's yours.
Well, I definitely want a carbine,
Okay.
and then rounds for a carbine. I don't need. I mean, the hatchet's good for the boat, right? So some of these things will just be useful or good utility items
So
that we
just-
could use. Yeah.
Oh, there is other stuff that they have in their saddlebags. Like I said, they have rope. You do find a few things that are like valuables or valuable-ish, like works of art or things like that they probably either just took a shine to or maybe recognized as being made of a precious metal and grabbed. So if you guys, no. But if you guys are going to add that to the boat's supplies, I will up your wealth card back to an 8.
Yeah, because that's what I was thinking when I was looking for other things.
And we got a
anything we
horse,
could
too.
sell.
Actually, yes, you have a horse. I'm going to up it by 2. Because you guys did just get, well, and also
And the saddle and...
multiple,
Yeah.
tacking for multiple horses. Now, his horse that's just a regular horse, but their horses, however, are made, these are riding horses. Riding horse, singular. But as you're looking around, everyone give me a perception check. You may use your field scout stuff. You may use your exceptional eyesight. And it's going to be perception.
17.
Sadly, 14.
Okay.
17.
All right.
Wow.
So the 16, 17, you guys, anyone that got above a 15, you guys do notice as you're looking around, there are...
15. I'm sorry, 15.
Okay. Well, either way, you're still fine. There are prints from other horses. There was at one point more horses than this here. Wild guessing, maybe as many as a dozen more horses that were out here. And those tracks seem to lead off to the southwest.
What's southwest of here?
If you go southwest of here, you're going to pass through some fringe areas of concerns of St. Louis, and then eventually you're going to start getting into places.
Jeffco.
Hang on, let me make sure I map this out right. Southwest of here, you're going to pass through a few places that are of concern to St. Louis, but they're going to be somewhat scattered, mostly farming and mining stuff. You keep going southwest past that, you're going to get to places that are not under St. Louis's thumb.
Okay.
So you're going to start seeing independent settlements and possibly the band these people came from.
So as Lee and I are finishing up the grave, I look at Lee and I say, when we're on the boat and I'm treating you like garbage because I'm pissed, just remember, I'm way more pissed at him. And I look over at Motomar.
I'm already on one of the GCs, waiting. I keep glancing around at everyone. Why'd you do it?
He would have led us to more of them. Nothing he would have said would have been truthful.
We definitely don't know now.
No.
I was standing right there. I point at your amulet. He knew you. Now, he called you son. I don't think he called you son because he was your father, but he knew you. And then you murdered him.
He was Ist. He was an animal.
He was a man who at least could have given us information about who gave them these coins.
You know what he would have done if those horses wouldn't have done what they did? They don't leave prisoners. They don't ask questions. They eat. They were paid to eat us. They would have led us to more of them. He had no son. He knew my name. That just means that he knows where I am. They know where we are.
Did you know him?
Did he look familiar at all to me? I mean, I was a little kid when...
Okay. Give me a 2d6 plus smarts check. Probably not. But I want to see, actually, there's a chance you may remember something
11?
You don't recognize who he is, and you can't quite put your finger on it, though. But there is something significant about... You can't remember why, but you remember before she was... I think she was killed. Your mother was... Or at least the woman that raised you, which you presume was your mother, who was killed. You remember her saying something specific about the word son in relation to you. That it was a forbidden word. It was a title you were supposed to never use. It was a name you're supposed to never be called by. But you can't remember why.
They don't own me anymore. Pops made it that way.
Just nod my head and walk away from him.
And I'm just kneeling, like flat foot squat, right next to the guy as I'm just staring at him.
His blood pouring out of his the wound through his neck and skull.
Joe,
Otherwise, he's not moving.
being back here, being that they dug her up for her book that she had on that boat, I can't help but wonder, does Liam accept with the same people Pops was?
It fits, doesn't it? Well, we need not stay here. So,
We need to get back to St. Louis where we can make a difference.
let's get back to St. Louis so we can get the vine and get the hell out of St. Louis.
Are we following the path of maybe and might, or are we following the path of running away?
I'm following the path of a doctor.
What says the captain?
The captain says he can't ever have what he wants. So we're going to head back to St. Louis and we'll follow the path of maybe and might because it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do for Herman. It's the right thing to do for Defiance. It's the right thing to do for Washington. It's the right thing to do for all those towns along the river that are under St. Louis's yoke because they're also under St. Louis's protection. So let's head back and see if you can get us to see these
Overseer.
creepy ass skull mask ghost guy.
New overseers. We don't have enough proof yet, do we?
No.
We're going to need more. We're going to need more before we can go to them.
Well, so here's what we do then. We go back. I mean, I assume this is going to take time, right?
I have an idea.
I do too. You first.
You're going to love it.
If it means us waylaying the Piasaw on the river and taking Cyrus Weiss by force, then I love it.
Told you you'd love it.
As Pops always said, either way you get gravy in your shorts. And I'd stand up and dust myself off.
We need a book of popsisms.
Things that Pops never said.
So he said all of them.
that.
He said all of them.
What time is it?
It's
Nice. 10:03, yeah.
okay.
What a phrase to end on if you ended here.
It's up to you guys. You guys want to end it here, or do you want to keep going? It's your call.
I think it's a good end spot only based on, I mean, for me personally, based on time, because then we've got plenty of time to do the wrap up, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was going to Broderick. So he's the one that.
So just so I know how to prep for next time, you guys, your intention is to take the river and or catch up with him wherever he is and
Make him talk.
beat Cyrus like a pinata until information comes
I
out.
punch him until candy comes out.
Right, because after Cyrus Weiss, then the next target is Moon Man.
Because we need to find out.
But we don't know where he is. We know.
That's okay.
We can figure out where Cyrus is.
We need to
easy.
finger Cyrus. Find out what his connections are.
We're not isks.
Find out what his connections are, who he knows, and start working out from there. I mean, basically, it's a cell. We have to crack the cell. We have to find the connections.
Right, and Cyrus, I mean, he will roll over like a $2 whore.
As long as Motomar doesn't kill him first.
God, I can't tell you, like, the anger of my character is so much that I'm physically irritated. Like, I'm so mad when you did that.
The look you gave me was right.
Oh my God, I'm so pissed off. I just so mad. I am. No, that's a true statement.
That's what I was going to ask. Is like, Chad, how does it feel to not be the guy at the table as the focus of Broder's ire?
Because here we are, the woman the only person in the world that was more important to me than that woman was Pops, right? We're at her grave, some shitheads had dug it up, right? And and rooted through her precious, precious things and desecrated her resting place. And then we get attacked, and the one dude who could have maybe provided us with a little bit of information, you stuck a knife in his throat. I was, oh my God!
Well, let's not forget, you also just saw a man get turned to paste in front of your eyes.
Yeah, I mean, could you imagine the adrenaline and the shock that's setting in? I haven't killed many people. We don't talk about my past, but holy crap, you know.
When the adrenaline ends, Philip is going to realize that he gave the order that led to paste. Killing a man's one thing. He made peanut butter out of a man.
You threatened to have a horse rape a dude.
Yeah.
But I think he was joking on that account.
Hey, that's nothing. Lee kind of maybe touched a dead body.
Yeah.
And then got squicked out and then crawled out of the grave.
Yeah. Seriously. Philip was doing it because he had been joking with Lee about it in character previously. Yeah. It was what can I say to this man to terrify him to the point that he's going to stand down and we can question him. That is the worst thing I can say to him right now.
Chad?
Yes.
The reason I had you make that roll... Actually, no, I'm going to say this for GM Confessional.
Okay.
Why I had you make that roll. Why I had you... I didn't make you. Right, there was a success, but I know physical attributes aren't your thing.
Oh, absolutely.
But there is a reason why I had you make that roll to fall into the grave, and I'll say it for GM Confessional.
It meant all the gunshots go to me.
So
at long last.
So am I crazy, or are people being paid in space coins? And Miss Lily saw a spaceship and wrote in her book about it, or am I just? I mean, because. Lizard people, all right, so the Duchess is not a lizard person, but you went down Lizard Person Road tonight, right? When we were back in St. Louis. But I just can't help but think that people are getting paid in space coins.
Okay, so there were many outcomes that I had contemplated to the encounter with the Is. You guys hide from them, you evade them, you defeat them in combat, you lose to them in combat, right? But they were the only people that are so they don't have plans.
Right.
They're a force of nature. They're just insane. They're
driven by the impulse.
They're rabid animals.
Yeah.
And
they were a gun that was pointed at us.
Precisely.
Basically.
And they probably they don't know, obviously. I mean, the Is are not behind this.
Yeah.
But they know facts.
He said they weren't. Lying, Denver.
They knew facts that could have painted some things together. They could have led you to other things.
Too easy.
And I went out of my way to make sure one was left alive.
Oh my God.
Lee made damn
Oh my God.
It was. I'm sorry. It was a trigger point.
I'm telling you, the bilge is going to be so clean, right? You'll be able to eat off the bilge. It's going to be beautiful. All the muck and mildew and grime that builds up on the hull of the boat in the river. Oh my God! You mean Emily's going to spend she's going to be sunburned because she's going to spend so much time observing and overseeing you two cleaning the boat.
She's taking Lee's job, being pompous and regal.
It's fantastic.
So, I had a moment in this game when the combat started where I really struggled in character and out of character with what I would do. Because we have these two GC horses that out of character I'm a huge fan of.
Right.
And it's like, out of character, I don't want to put them in danger of having them run towards people with guns. And then I was thinking, in character, what would he do? In character, he doesn't want to be shot, and they're horses.
Yeah. Exactly.
He grew up on
They're
a
valuable
farm.
horses, but
Yeah, he grew up on a farm. They're valuable horses. He's more valuable to himself.
Sure. Let's say I gave anyone in the world a full-blown gold ingot and said you can either have the ingot or you can live.
Yeah. And so it's one of those things where out of character, I don't want to put him at risk. In character, he doesn't shoot. He doesn't have a gun. These people got the drop on us. It's all he has to do. Attack.
Well, and I won't tell you everything that was going on with them for obvious reasons, because there are still lots and lots of things that you guys don't know going on.
We could have, but
We could. You possibly could have. But I will tell you this much. When the IS rode into that combat, all the strategy and whatnot they had and whatever they were trying to do, maybe they were just keeping an eye on you.
they didn't actually shoot us. We kind of drew first blood.
Correct. You guys drew first blood. Maybe they were only watching you. Maybe if you guys had just done what you were going to do and leave, they'd have done nothing. At one point, they did something IS rarely do, and they actually did attempt to parlay, which went very poorly, but they did attempt to parlay. But I do know this. Of all the things that could have been going through their head, these two horses are about to wreck us wasn't on the list. It's dark. They probably saw two large horses, are probably thinking draft horses, probably did not realize that these things are actually larger than Clydesdales, and much less that at a simple command, they would attack with the intelligence of a trained attack dog.
Well, and that's something he's going to hit him later as the journaling comes down, is he expected them to run and, headbutt or something. He didn't expect it to be that powerful.
Yeah.
So Philip's going to be taken off guard by that, too. It's
Wait till you get in the light and you get to clean the hose off. Especially the one
or
that
until you see them lick the gore off their hooves and then look right in your eyes.
And then you wake up and they're licking you in your sleep. And
if
lick
somebody
the paw, lick Phil, or the hoof, rather, lick the hoof, lick Phil, lick the hoof, lick Phil.
If somebody has to clean their hooves off, there are two people that they don't have a bilge yet.
Without question.
So let me, with tonight's game, I told Chad coming into it, I'm going to talk about this more in the GM confessional, but I talked to Chad about this a little bit before we started. I said, it's just kind of a weird game to write, because I know point A. I know where it starts. It starts with Modamar at the complex and you guys fleeing the drone. And I said, I have some plot points in mind that I can plug and play wherever you guys end up. If you guys stay in St. Louis, go down the river, there are encounters I can make happen. But the real issue is I don't know what that next point is, right? I don't know what it is that you guys do between these plot points further down and the immediate aftermath of what occurs at the amphitheater. And so it's kind of a weird thing to write. And I knew I couldn't fill that blanket. But I will have to say that of all the things I had considered, we're going to go to Sunset's house, and you genuinely caught me flat-footed on that one. I did not think you would go back to Sunset's house.
I've had that in my mind to do for 2 weeks now.
And so when you guys did that, I typically, as a game master, don't divulge deeper information on the plot quite as quickly as I did tonight. Now, I know a lot of you guys don't know what it means or don't know the context of it or things like that. And trust me, there's still plenty of mystery to all of this. But it was kind of usually I'm a little slower than that to give out information, which is arguably one of my weaknesses as a GM, is the players feel always so far behind the eight ball, so out of their depth, that it's almost like they don't know what they're doing, right? And while there's still a lot of things to connect, you guys certainly do have leads to follow. You could attempt to find the Rat Man. You could attempt to find your friend, James, what is his name? James...
I want to say Caldwell. Is that right?
Doesn't sound right.
I don't think it's. I think I wrote it.
Weldon. James Weldon. James Weldon. So you could attempt to find James Weldon and see what he has to say.
I could at some point organize my note card so I could find the information when you ask for it.
You could attempt to find Cyrus and see what if anything he knows.
That is the plan.
That is the plan.
We'll see. And
we want to beat him till plot comes out.
And so there was information, right? But now you guys...
I think I broke Brodo with that one.
You did. That's brilliant.
And you would have had another lead with why are the ISs involved in this?
Yeah, we would have had another lead.
But somebody had to play in character.
So I gotta ask, unless it's a secret you want to bring out in role playing, why? What?
Why did I kill him?
Yeah, why did you kill him? Unless it's like a role playing thing you want to hang on to.
No, it was this is the first time that...
Because I didn't expect it. I think I expected more curiosity.
Let me try and guess here.
Okay.
And I could be totally wrong. This is
Yeah, I
just
gotta
how I'm
guess too.
gonna guess.
I'm curious your guess. First.
Well, I might as well get in the queue.
That Modamar, he knows what he is and what he's from, and Pops brought him up from that, but he didn't give it up. It's not separate. It's still a part of him, and he knows that his friends really, if they knew what the Ists really were and knew his place in Ist, or at least his old place in Ist, that would be a really horrible thing. This guy was about to take that door. He turned the knob, and it just started cracking open. And then Modamar shoved a knife in his head and pulled that door shut and say, "Nothing to see here, guys."
So, my theory is different. My theory is that this is the first time since being freed from the Ist that you've run into one that knows you and recognizes you. And there's that fear in the back of Modamar's mind at all times. He was rescued from this. If they find out where he's at, they're going to come and get him and bring him back. This man recognized them. If there's any chance that he gets away at a later date, he's going to tell them where I'm at, and they're going to come after me. Maybe they get me, maybe they don't, but people are going to die.
See, in my mind, I'm somewhere between the two, and I think that Modamar is an alcoholic who's got his 1-year chip, and that was his old drinking buddy. And he remembered, boy, I like drinking. I can't hang out with these guys anymore.
Yeah, I mean, you touched on basically everything. It's one of those things where I look at Modamar as he's a wild animal that has been taken out of his natural element, and kind of, what you were saying is, like I said, all this would do is lead us down that road, and we don't want whatever he had to say, whether it was pertinent to what in Modamar's mind it was, no, you don't want to deal with any of these guys. We'll figure out what's going on back where you guys are comfortable, not here.
I see Joe accepts that. And it's fine. It's nice to see Captain Joe at peace with this.
We do need to show somebody in St. Louis a space coin, though.
A numinist?
Numismatist.
Numismatist.
So there's got to be a masked person, right, in St. Louis that would be able to help us with that. Once the potential civil war is quelled, someone can review our space coins.
I don't know, man. Lee worked in finance. He doesn't know what space coins are.
Right, but there's all sorts of weird. There's all sorts of weird,
space shit on them.
What do they say in Boondock Saints? Symbology, symbolism. But there's clearly some sort of iconography on this coin, right?
Right.
I don't know. It's space.
I don't know. I mean, did
So
the houses
a better question.
employ heraldists?
People have been paid with these.
Right.
Lee didn't care about his payment because that wasn't why he was doing it. The Ist would care about their payment. This isn't the spendable coin that we know of, so why would they accept that as payment?
Right, unless
Accept
you can-
something else.
there's-
We could ask the... Oh.
There's another question to this, which is what you would know of the local list. They're not open to mercenary work. They're not mercenaries. You don't hire them. They are their own society that wants to thrive, that wants to succeed, that wants to expand. It's a sick, horribly diseased society. Diseased in a way that St. Louis can't even come close to. But it's an honest disease. St. Louis has more of an internal rot, whereas these people are just, they're leprous. It's obvious from what you see them that they are diseased.
So typically they wouldn't be hired. They
They're
would
not-
be doing this because it's for their advantage to do it.
Or another possibility, what if it wasn't payment?
Yeah.
Well, if there's a pile of poop in the woods, and that poop is the spy guy who gave him the space coins.
Yeah. Good point, too. We could have asked them where they got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did one guy have the coins?
Yes, you found them on one person.
Yeah, I mean,
Right, who found them on a body in the woods somewhere?
right.
Did it happen to be the guy that Bodemar killed?
It was.
Of course it was.
If
Was
it wasn't
now.
before, it is now.
No, actually, I had in mind from the start that the guy with the spear, the reason he had the spear was it was sort of like an officer's-ish weapon, in that it's more meant to defend himself and drive the other men forward and torment them around camp without burning supplies. And so,
Yeah. Lee, I don't think I've ever had a character get on and then off the shit list so quickly.
Oh, you're still on it. You're just not at the top.
it's Daddy was mad about your D in math,
Yeah.
and then someone brought home straight F's.
Coming into the session, did you have any idea that your reveals were going to happen this session?
I was struggling with that all week. From the end, the moment the last game ended with the firefight, I knew I wanted to steer the group to go to Sunset's house.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, Chad's goal was to start the mystery. To start, not to start the mystery, Dan started, but to start the investigation of the mystery and to start there. And that's going to be the first step. The struggle that I've had all week was, how does Lee do this? Does Lee come clean, or does Lee manipulate the situation? Does he start lying and dropping hints? And my thought going into the game was, I think Lee would try to manipulate everybody. Lee would try to manipulate everybody and dance around it. And problem was...
I think I was one of your problems.
Well, the problem was, when Lee started, he saw... like chess, he saw the next move, because that's what you have to do when you manipulate people and lie to them. And it's the next move, and the next move, and the next move. And then that started going through his mind, because I'm thinking, like, okay, what am I going to have to do not to get caught? And it's just the lies, and the lies, and the lies kept piling up in his mind, and it just... And then the turning point was facing Sunset's mother, where Lee, all of this sort of guilt that Lee was not understanding was piling up on him, and then he's responsible for Sunset's death. Lee blames himself, and that's essentially what he told his mother.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "It was me. I am responsible. I killed him," and that's what Lee is going to be holding in him for a very, very long time.
This was the first session where Lee did something early on that made Philip suddenly question.
Mm-hmm.
And it was we're in the middle of a firefight. Why aren't we trying to get out of town or get safe? Why is he saying go to someone's house that he hasn't acknowledged knowing yet? I knew Casey knew Sunset. We already knew that.
Yeah.
But I told him this is Casey's friend that's going to fight.
Mm-hmm.
Never gave any indication that he knew Sunset himself. So that was the first red flag of, wait a minute, how does he even know where that house is at?
Right.
How does he know them? Casey says, well, he was my friend, but Casey wasn't the one that was saying, let's go there.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was the first, he's asking us to do something that doesn't make sense. So he started questioning, because there's something that's not
Which
right.
added to the lies. Lee had to start telling more lies, and then that just kept adding to it and adding to it. He just could.
Up to this point, no one's questioned him on anything.
He got to a point to where I was like, he could still work with this. He could still keep dancing. He could still keep doing this. But it's just like, God, the lies. I mean, it's just got to be crushing the guy.
Well, and Sunset's mom.
Oh yeah,
did
well,
that.
Sunset's
great.
mom. I mean, that was
awesome.
Yeah, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. I mean, it's just like that was the subtle minimalist, this huge, gigantic mass of emotions and feelings, and then the mom is just like, tap, and then he just collapses. He's done.
Broder beat me to punching him.
Oh no, I was,
Well, he needed to get punched. He's been
Yeah.
needing a good slap around for a long time.
well, to be honest, Joe's been wanting to punch him for a while.
Right.
Yeah.
I did like what you said, Wayne, about, I think it was you, something about how St. Louis poisoned him.
It was me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said you became, you were one of us. You went there. You became one of them. You changed. You brought it back, and you've been acting like St. Louis all this time.
Right.
But you're one of us. Damn it.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. The actual use of the word poison was definitely Joe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was. I thought that was really cool.
Cool. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will continue this in 2 weeks, I
No,
believe.
that was a great session.
Thanks, Dan. That was good.
Yeah, it was really great.